followers is not a vanity metric. I think it's the most important metric you have in your entire media ecosystem. And it is actually because it matters so little for distribution.
That's Michael Lim. He was previously Alex and Layla Hormozi's director of media and played a key role in the legendary $100 million launch. From working with Alex to launching MrBeast Philanthropy channel to now building the media team for $1 billion startup, Michael is one of the few people in the world who knows how to generate billions of impressions in any industry.
The best content teams in the world are like elite NBA teams. And a lot of content teams don't even really understand how to win.
Michael believes most people are playing the game wrong, and it's causing creators and brands to be broke, miserable, and stuck on the content hamster wheel.
I genuinely don't think that many people should be making content. A lot of people's time would be better spent actually building something meaningful and like worth talking about.
In this episode, you'll get the behind the scenes on how the top creators build billion-dollar brands, which metrics you should track obsessively and which to ignore, and how to extract more follower and revenue growth from every post.
Michael's a true master at his craft, so lock in because you're gonna love this one.
Michael, everyone sees the external numbers. They see $100 million made online, but what does the behind the scenes actually look like that makes all of that happen?
I've been thinking about this a little bit recently. They just released the behind the scenes vlog, kind of like showing all the
Looked crazy.
the ups and downs and like the immense amount of prep. It feels a bit like a NASA launch, you know, like you're about to launch this rocket. It might explode and kill everybody, you know, and you really don't want that to happen. So you have to just triple check and create triple redundancies for everything because it's different from a YouTube video where you can like mess it up or like this podcast. Like if I say something that I'm like, oh no, that's super embarrassing, we can like edit it in post. There are no do-overs on like a live stream with hundreds of thousands of people with a world record on the line. Like you got 24 hours to crack the Guinness record, right? To like do the book sales. So we did a launch about 2.5 years ago for the previous book. And there were a number of things that didn't go well that we knew we needed to fix.
Which were
like, so like we broke Zoom. So like the actual functionality of the live stream when people were trying to sell the thing crashed, right? People couldn't get on, people couldn't, you know, buy the book. And so we were like, what's the simplest way of doing this? We're just going to go to YouTube. We have a great relationship with a YouTube rep. We're just going to make a super dumb one-click link, no like crazy split screen Zoom chat thing. And then we'll just get people from our customer and like sort of audience base for the back Zoom wall. And they'll just be in like a separate sort of VIP chat thing. That was one. Then like internet, like Vegas, for as many people live there and like as much commerce is kind of like a third world country in some of the infrastructure. Like if you've ever been like on the strip, sometimes you'll lose service.
Yeah, you have service on the strip.
There's just like random sewage smell in random places. So we were like, okay, we're going to have 2 like gigabit, you know, internet, or probably more than that, like internet linkages, and then a Starlink sort of satellite connect as the backup, and then power, right, is something else that can go down and like just, I don't know, sometimes you get like these random like wind bursts that knock out the whatever. So we had power, and then we had like generators in the back. And then I remember Lewis, our director of marketing, was like, what if someone goes and like sabotages the generators? Like we gotta put up like security there to make sure nobody can cut those down. So yeah, it's like internet, power, YouTube, and then Alex obviously is like a point of failure. He's got to like nail the slides, he's got to nail the timing. That's easier because he just prepares like a maniac. So, you know, we created the exact environment that we would have. We like had the exact blinding light, you know, setup that we were going to have. We made like a bit of a dome so he couldn't see anything that was going on. Like if a fire started in the building, he wouldn't know. I mean, at some point you might, there's like enough smoke and stuff. But the idea is like, we don't want him to even know if we broke the record, because then if he's expecting us to start cheering, if it doesn't happen, he's going to start maybe like freaking out a little bit and then, you know, like do something that's off the script. So he basically rehearsed like every second of every minute and every like choreographed movement of the props and the booklets, and like when he takes his hat down to like read the letter to the audience and like talk about the mission of, you know, entrepreneurship and breaking this record. And we were like measuring the latency of the clickers, you know. So yeah, I mean, it felt like a space launch. Like everyone, all hands on deck. Like we all feel really like motivated to make this thing happen and break this record and like get this education in the hands of people. And I mean, all power to Alex. Like he had this vision for 6 years to make this thing happen. He like wrote all the books ahead of time. It's kind of like the J.K. Rowling like scribbling Harry Potter on the napkin. Like that's the level of specificity he had with this whole thing happening.
When he came to you guys though, after the last launch before this one, was he like, I want this record. I want to figure out how we as a team can make this work.
He wanted $100 million day because he wanted to end the trilogy with a $100 million launch. And then he wanted to break the record because he's like, look, like, we want this to be superlative. We want this to be a self-published #1 bestseller. Like every other person on the list is Prince Harry and the Obamas and these sort of like, politicians.
Did the other ones even sniff close to what the $100 million offers did?
So Prince Harry had 1.4 million. We did 2.
No, but I'm saying the other $100 million books.
Oh, no. And sort of intentionally, right? Like you only can do so many big asks. The longer the runway, the bigger the takeoff. So we wanted to create a really long runway, give goodwill away for like years and years and years and years. And then finally like, hey, let's do this for the community, for the record. Obviously like Alex benefits from it as well. But like in the service of making sure that books and education can go, because the books, like the donated books now can be, distributed to like people all over the world, right? And so that's the idea.
So you hear this grand number of $100 million launch. What does the day-to-day look like though? Because you see the final result, but a lot of people don't see the behind the scenes. So I'm curious to know, what does that day-to-day look like? And how far in advance did you guys start prepping for this launch? And was it just like 12, 14, 16-hour days, or like walk us through that day-to-day?
Yeah, it's a that's a good question.
Come on,
dude, we're podcasting.
Dude, you're
That's
good
hilarious.
at this.
All right. So a couple things. I think one, there's a Goldilocks sweet spot between too much time and too little time to prepare. Like if there's too much time, everyone's adrenaline like is just running for too long and then people get burnt out. So I think we almost launched the book in 2024. And then we were like, we don't actually have the infrastructure. And I think it was a really, really good judgment call from Layla to be like, we don't have the customer service. We don't have the focus. We don't have the media team that we need. And so we waited a little bit. And then in like February, March of 25, where Alex was like, I want to make this happen on my birthday in August. So we had basically 5 or 6 months to like get all the ad copy, all the crazy, organic Green Man stunt stuff, all of the preparation for the distribution of the books. There's a lot of books to ship in like a couple of weeks. Like millions of books is very complicated to pack out of like, a dozen or so warehouses. And so day to day, I'd say there's a couple things I took away from it. One, I think Elon calls us like the CEO urgency laser beam. Like Alex would just DM people like, what's the status of this? Every single day. Like we were working on a slide deck for the presentation. We didn't want to outsource it because there's like so much, one, like confidential material that can't be leaked. And then 2, like feedback loops are just way tighter on an internal team. And he would just message our team like, how's the slide deck looking? Have you finished this animation? How's the graphic for this? And I think it's a really good lesson for founders and teams. Like you are never above really being in the weeds with your team and like either doing the work with them or just messaging them personally every single day to let them know this is important.
Because do you think most founders would be like, I have a team member
I've told
that's
them.
handling.
I've told them the vision. I've gave them the deadline. They should just get the work done. It's like, no, like people are super busy. The book launch is not the main thing the acquisition does, right? We are making a ton of media. There's a portfolio we have to run. We had workshops and the advisory practice going on all at the same time. Like we didn't pause events until I think like a week and a half before, which was probably, I think we should have paused it a little more because we had to set up this big screen, right? But we couldn't set up the screen until the last day that events were kind of like starting to wrap up. And so we ended up having this like 4-part decision tree of like, okay, how can we still have the workshops happen while making this screen set up, but like protect the screen because if someone dents it and like breaks a panel, then like it's like super, I mean, it's like $500,000 screen, right? So CEO urgency laser beam, time compression, like this thing that I think Alex talks about. He locked us in a room for like consensually, right? But like we were like, hey, like how would you guys feel if we just like locked ourselves in a room for 72 hours over a weekend and we compressed like 8 weeks of work into 1 weekend, writing all of the text messages, all the emails, test all the landing pages, record every single VSL, like regular VSL for pre-order, VIP upsell, like there was like 4 or 5 videos that we needed, and then take all the product photography of him holding the books and the bonuses. And it, one, like revealed a lot of issues that we needed to fix. Like, okay, our HubSpot thing might break. We can't send 1 million texts. How do we stagger them? And then it just got so many of the small little logistical creative aspects out of the way so that for the next 4 months, we could really execute on the stuff that needed to be time sensitive, like figuring out, the offer and the internet and like the actual, ad campaign. Like we ended up running, I think like 2,000 or so pieces of ad creative over the course of like the 2 months. And it was like ramped up, right? It's like you spend 20% of the ad budget, you know, a couple weeks out, you spend 40%, you know, the week before, and then like you blow like $2.5 million or whatever the number was, like in the last 72 hours, because all the conversion happens at the very end.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's what I was gonna ask. So let's say in the very beginning, you guys have $200,000 and you guys are starting to ramp up spend in the very early days. Was there days that would go by where you guys were like, man, we're at like a 0.8 on return of this stuff?
Super. We did not have the numbers that we needed for the conversion to hit, because you can, if you know you have a record, you want to sell, let's say 1.4 million, which is the record, then you know you can assume certain conversion rates. Okay, like 10% of people are going to show up. So we need this many registrants. And then of that many registrants, we need to get this many people on the lead form. And then we need this many people to see the thing. And so we had like this like live dashboard that that Lewis like no coded of like how on track are we? And we were off track until like 48 hours before.
So those ads that were like, because I mean, we were all getting hit with them.
Yeah,
like,
sorry about that.
No, I'm down. I was
waiting for that.
We were taking notes. Yeah, we were waiting for that. It was like, and I mean, we've seen it with things that we've sold. 60 to 80% comes when it's 2 days left. There's 48 hours left. Check this out. We're not doing it again in the future. Like, did you guys notice when you started running the 48 hour and the 24 hours or day of ads that it was like the conversion started to really come? Like they were aware. Okay, last chance.
I would say like more props to Alex because he'd done this before. He knew to give the team heads up on a couple things. Like one, all the infrastructure problems we needed to fix. Two, the expectation around the changes in conversion that were going to happen. He was like, look, it is very likely we are going to get more than half of the signups right before the event. And that's probably better anyways, because people that sign up to show up to an event, like
you forget
2 months in, you forget, you know? And then third, he gave us the heads up of like, y'all are going to be depressed as fuck after this is happening. Cause like you've been working for this thing for what feels like half your life. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, we hit the goal, like now what, you know, and all kinds of like funny emotional stuff like start popping up. So
and did you feel that?
Yeah, I think so.
You recovered now though?
Yeah, I think, well, actually I got like so sick. I got strep. Actually I got sick like a bunch of times last year. I think it was like a good lesson learned of like, I can't push myself to the point of sacrificing sleep.
Yeah.
But I was bedridden for like a week and a half.
Wow.
Leading up to it?
No.
Oh, post.
The day after.
Oh my gosh.
Was like,
wow.
Oh my God, like what just happened, you know? And then I like had to go to urgent care and all that. And
Holy
so,
shit.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, for the 72 hours in a room.
Yeah.
One, do you recommend that? And two, how does that work? Are you guys sleeping all in that room?
No. So Alex would set a timer. He'd be like, I'm going to record how much work we're actually doing. When we take a break for lunch, when we fuck around, like we'll pause the timer just so we can really stay on track of like, we're not here to hang out. We're here to get stuff done. So his goal was for us to get, I think, like 24 hours of solid work done over like 2 days. So it's like 2 12-hour days. Obviously we're there for much longer, but like the actual focused work is like was timed. And that's kind of one of his hacks. Like he has like kitchen timers and he just like starts and stops whenever he's not, you know, focused and stuff.
Dude, we need that, dude. Do you want to make $100,000?
I sure do.
I feel like the Rock's listening also would. So I'm going to tell you about Stan's Dare to Dream Challenge 2026. Okay, this is the opportunity to win $100,000 just by posting a singular video onto social media. Okay, lock in here. These are the rules. All right, you're going to post your video. Okay, you're going to use the hashtag Stan Dare to Dream 26. Okay, that's literally
easy.
It. That's pretty self-explanatory, right?
Absolutely.
And then you just got to go online. It's the top link in our description. It'll tell you everything else that you got to do, and you got to make a little submission with your link. Are you kidding? You're already making videos.
That's what I'm saying. Look, if
what are you gonna do?
If I win 100 big ones, I'm just gonna be keeping my shades on because the future's looking bright.
I think it's looking super bright. And also you got to tag Stanford Creators. I didn't mention that. Okay, but get this, dude. If you don't even win, but you're top 5 runner-ups, you get 10 bands, $10,000 for the top 5 runner-ups.
Oh my God.
I think you guys are leaving so much money on the table by not just making this video right now. So you should go write your idea down, come back to the video and go to that top link in the description, read all of the rules. Stan, Dare to Dream 2026, lock that in.
I've done it a few times and I genuinely think it's such a simple thing, but it's such a hack.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm setting 45 minutes or an hour or however long to really focus in and do this work.
Yeah.
And if I don't get it done, I don't know what happens.
Then they cut off your left toe.
Whatever. But there's the idea that a person will take as much time as they have allocated to
Parkinson's
get,
law.
what is it? Parkinson's law?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the
Yeah.
same concept of if you get a paper that's due at the end of the semester, you're going to wait till the night before to do it. So if you can hack your brain or set a timer, be like, I only have this amount of time. If you set deadline for yourself, I think that is like such a hack.
The same thing happens with budgets. So Parkinson's law is work will expand to fill the time allotted to it. I think work will expand to fill the money allotted to it as well. Like if you just tell your team, we got to get this podcast done in $600, like how can we do it? You find like more creative ways to make that happen. It's actually really interesting, like because right now I'm working for a venture-backed like SaaS company, and like efficiency, even though you have, let's just say hundreds of millions of dollars, that you fundraised, you need to be extremely efficient because no one wants to run out of money. And then the investors are looking at how efficiently are you growing. I'm like blowing up balloons myself. I'm like scoping out and holding cameras and like taking. I think it's a fun part of the process. So you get like really in the weeds with it. But yeah, and then the 72 hours thing. I recommend like finding ways to do that on a regular basis with your team. Like I think offsites and retreats are super underrated, and like the world is kind of coming back to a place where this appreciation of in-person, really like compressed work is notable. There's also like a social bonding perspective from like, it's like pledging, right? Like you get locked into a basement, you're like it's a fun kind of like,
it's the most fun you never want to do again.
Yeah, right. And so Alex was just like, paddling us, right? Like, just like pledges.
There's a video of you on a private jet with Alex. It's like the day before. It's like a 15, 20-minute video. It's you, Alex, Layla, and maybe a few others behind the scenes, but you have this huge list of hooks.
Oh yeah.
And I want to know what you did to prep for that. Like, were you going through all of Alex's ads? Are you going through tons of different ads in Facebook Ads Manager? Is it your own inclinations of things that you think are going to work? How do you come up with the most practical hooks? Because if no one watches for 3 seconds, they're not watching for 15 or 30.
Yeah. So there's things that we did that were sort of aligned with, I think Google published their approach to ad campaigns, and it's like they recommend 80% of your ad spend goes towards proven stuff. And then I think I'm probably butchering the numbers here, but it's like maybe it's like 70%. Then it's like 20% is on sort of loose adaptations of the stuff that already works, and then 10% is like totally net new things. So the benefit of us and Alex in particular, having done advertising for way longer than many people, is that he's been doing ads since the gym launch days, right? Like in Facebook in like 2013. So he just has like a decade basically of understanding visuals, hooks, like, and so he has this big list. And so he shared me the list, like, okay, here are some of the things that have worked in the past. As part of the one of the bonuses that we did for the launch was like Alex's best ads of all time. So he just linked me his entire old Facebook library of like Prestige Labs, Allen, school. I'd done all the school ads because I was his creative director at the time. And then gym launch. And so we just like studied all these together. He's like really good at chunking out frameworks. So it's kind of like I was a management consultant, right? So I crunched all the numbers. I give him like a data set and I'm like, here are some of the takeaways. And then he went and synthesized the entire thing and then got back to the team and like, okay, there's, 4 things we have to communicate about the book launch. It's like the urgency, it's the scale, it's like the credibility of like all the things that have gone into this book and like how much work has gone into sort of these formulas that you'll be able to get, and then like the secrecy of like this secret bonus that you don't know what it's going to be. So that's like the framework. And then he goes to the team and says, okay, now turn this into a bunch of different copy. And so the media team then has to come up with visual and like verbal variations. So from a visual standpoint, how can we make use of all the different scenes in the building and the office? Like Alex doesn't like really traveling that much for work because like he just prefers to be locked in. So I have to be like, can we film in front of the elevator? Can we film in front of the bathroom? Can we like film in front of the lobby? Can we film in front of the building? And then what different ways can we film? Can we use front camera phone, selfie camera phone, Sony, 2cam, like podcast style? And then what can we say? So like you sort of get this, he calls it kaleidoscoping. You just like multiply a bunch of permutations to get, tons of different variations.
And whose idea was the green suits and the actual physical different sizes of the books?
The sizes of the books, I think were Alex and I just like brainstorming a bunch of random shit, and we're like, what if we did like, because MrBeast had the big Feastables thing.
yeah.
So yeah, originally that's a MrBeast, it's a MrBeast original. And they're like, well, like the book's kind of big, like there's a way for us to highlight, these fun things. The green suits was my idea. It came about because Alex had given the team mandates of like, I'm canceling all my one-on-ones. I need nothing but deep work time to be able to like finish writing all of the actual presentation pitch, right? This like world record breaking webinar. So please find a way to make my media work without me as much. And then also a lot of the ad creative and like organic stuff. We will obviously still film like once or twice a week, but we don't have, typically Alex films a little more than that. We had to like compress a lot because we're trying to protect his time. So I think I sent him this message that was like, hey, so we have these random green suits that we used for the big book carrying thing that I bought just because I didn't want to like have it be distracting, have a bunch of like random employee like faces. So it was that way. It was just Alex and then a bunch of like pseudo anonymous green people.
Got Mike for marketing.
Yeah, right. It's just like so random. And so I was like, what if we just use these suits for everything? Like we can basically take these. So one of the other things that like I think went in our favor is because I knew this book launch had been happening for the last like year and a half. I had been saving like notes in my phone of like just ridiculous ideas. Like, have you guys seen I don't know, put it in post, like the Jamie Van Dam or whatever his name is. He does the splits on the Volvo trucks.
No, I don't think I've seen that.
It's this close-up shot and it pulls out and
it's a very famous commercial.
He does these fucking splits on these trucks. Okay, so I had this idea like, I want Alex to be like standing between two Cybertrucks and then he's holding his book and then not that he'd be doing the splits, but like he could hold on or something like show off his muscles. Anyways, I had a bunch of these like, ridiculous ideas. I had one where I wanted two people floating in the middle of the ocean, like the Titanic scene, but it's a giant book, and one of them's like, "Don't let go," and like falls into the water. And so I was like, I've been saving all these like common pop culture tropes, and I want to just use the green men and make these like these random crazy ads. And the things that I pitched them on were like, and this is like a lesson learned, I think, in working with really amazing entrepreneurs like Alex, is like, you have to always be selling, right? Because they have so many trade-offs and other priorities. And so I was like, look, first of all, this won't require you because the green men can be the characters for this thing. Second, there's no key man risk for the green men. If any of our employees decide to leave or get sick or can't make a certain shoot, we just can swap in anyone endlessly. This also means that we can use the green men in the future if you want to, because like it's kind of like the Geico, mascot, right?
Yeah. Now he's associated with those.
Green men. He's associated with the green men. It's a branding exercise, right? The third is that it enables a lot of like the use of these like parodies, because we can just like turn everything green, right? We can create this like very, very like sort of, tight, coherent visual with the green men. And then it allows us to add like a playful and silly and kind of like, I don't want to say like blue collar, but like he doesn't want to be on camera doing TikTok twerking, dancing stuff, but the green men can be absurd and you can laugh at them and they can be super self-deprecating without like damaging Alex's personal brand. And I think that part of ad variation is also engaging different emotions. So having like hilarity and absurdity, I actually think is like a very like fun thing to kind of spice it up. Otherwise it's just like, buy my book, come to my launch. Instead it's like, you got these green men like holding up the book in the Lion King scene, and then like the Ashton Hall like sprinting with the green men.
Was funny.
So he was like, "That sounds great. Like, run with it," And so I told the team like, "I know this is going to be a lot, but let's try to just like figure out ways to make it happen." And we don't have like professional actors at the company, right? So like I'm like going over to like our shorts manager and be like, can you wear this like stinky green suit for like the fourth time? And I've tried to launder them, but like they shrink in the laundry in the dryer. It's like all these hilarious things that happen in the green suits. And
I didn't even think about the smell.
Vegas is also 120 degrees.
Yeah. Oh my god.
In July and August.
It's so hot out there.
There was some green pit stains for sure.
Oh man. I want to go back to you saying that 70 or 80% of ads should be proof based.
Or proven. But they should have proof as well.
Do you think that's something that people mess up when going into ads, is they don't actually build enough credibility for themselves around what they're trying to sell? or what the ad is about?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I'm going to sound a bit like a hater when I say this, but I genuinely don't think that many people should be making content. Like, it's a really popular like paradigm we have where it's like anyone can be an influencer and a content creator, and like you have a lot of people trying to sell you courses to like become a part-time short form creator and like do it because you can document, not create. It's like the barrier's never been lower. It's true, like the barrier has never been lower, but that means that like I think people should be thinking a lot more about supply and demand, not like tactics and tricks. And the truth is, like, Facebook and Instagram have basically saturated the entire market. There's very few people who have yet to be onboarded onto consuming short form content or like content in general. But the supply of creators is constantly increasing because everyone and their mom thinks that they can become a, you know, OnlyFans model or like, you know, influencer making, you know, money from their videos. And so if you know that there's a lot of people that are producing a supply of content and demand is fixed, you have to beat out hundreds of thousands of creators in an ever increasing game of like, also the tools are getting easier to use. Like 10 years ago, it was very hard to edit videos. Now we have CapCut and edits. AI is making things easier because people can just like pump out 100 Opus clips or hire like the Clipper army. And so I just think that a lot of people's time would be better spent actually building something meaningful and like worth talking about, and also just a skill set that makes them unique. And so, this is just my personal opinion, but like I spent a lot of time just putting my heads down building for a lot of these brands and like working on stuff before I decided this is my first podcast ever, right? And so I think it allows you to, number one, focus on the skill acquisition that is necessary to like really eventually be in front of an audience and know what you're talking about. Because there's so many things that Alex had to build in order for him to be as credible as he is today. He had to understand sales, marketing, software, on-camera presence, like, you know, positioning, influence, right? And if you're a solo founder trying to like also start a bootstrap company, you have to understand legal, how to hire, how to fire people, how to price your product efficiently, how to follow up on leads, like, and then to tack on sound, lighting, managing a videographer, looking at an edit, studying your analytics. Like, it's just so much. And I think people are really easy to sell that in this age of like infinite distribution, you know, it's really easy to do this. Like, yeah, it's like easy to put something out there, but I think it's very difficult to put something out there consistently that converts people, that you enjoy doing. Cause I think that the work and the process of creating media that you don't want to fucking kill yourself doing is also like a skill. And then, right?
Yeah,
I think it's like happiness is a skill,
No,
right?
it
I think
is,
like
yeah.
making content that feels fun is a skill. And then how to monetize it is also a skill. And so for most people, it's like, I'd rather you just like delay that for a couple of years and like build a $10 million business, and then you can do this.
So do you think that those founders should focus more on like making ads and hiring like an ad team out? Or do you think, cause like, okay, let's say we have a founder who just listened to this and they're like, okay, my opinion has been flipped on its head. I've been listening to some of the folks that come on here and they say that I should be making content, or you hear Gary screaming about it. You should be making content, right? Okay. Now they're like, I don't need to be making content, but then what should they actually do to get leads for their business?
Make a good product.
Okay.
Like,
we have a great,
like
let's say we have a great, okay. We have, I know the quote you're going to bring up. So we have a great
quote?
Yeah. We have a great product.
Okay.
They have a good product that's taken care of. But then how do you go about getting in the hands of more people if we have certain benchmarks that we have to hit? Or, you just spent $50,000 on the thing and I don't have the luxury of waiting on word of mouth to happen.
And we're bootstrapped. We don't have fundraising.
Yeah, we're bootstrapped.
Give me the Naval quote though.
Yeah, it's a
the
good
Naval
quote.
quote this is like total oversimplification that's gonna make people mad, but like it's meant to be a thought exercise. It's like you're doing sales because you didn't know how to do marketing, and you're doing marketing because you didn't know how to do product. And so the idea is that like if your product is good enough, it should ideally get enough word of mouth, positive, brand recognition that it begins to sell itself. It's a bit of an oversimplification, but I think that's kind of like, that's what's happening with these founders who are like, I'm going to first build an audience and then I'm going to find a way to distribute something to this base. I think that's like doing sales first. You're just like trying to get in front of people and like convince them that what you're doing is interesting and noteworthy. I mean, like, I think finding a way to get in front of a really, really targeted ICP is a very like good place to start. I think the like Silicon Valley Y Combinator, like do things that don't scale, is a really good exercise because it forces you to really like get in front of customers in really tight feedback loop. Like finding a cold call list of your prospects and like just getting on the phone with them and trying to do like a hand-to-hand thing, I think is a very like good way to get a product out there, because it forces you to like really hear the language they're using, that eventually becomes your like sort of foundation for how you market your product. And if you just skip straight to like trying to distribute to the masses, unless you're like really reading the comments all the time, you're not going to get like the same quality of understanding of your customer as if you were like calling up, you know, Grandma Susie and being like, you know, I made this back scratcher and like, tell me about your back pain and like how much, you know, time it keeps you up at night because you're in pain. And like, you just like don't get that touch points if you're trying to like go mass market too fast. I think ads can work, but ads are also kind of expensive.
Very.
So, I mean, I don't know. This is like it's a big question. Like, what are the ideal distribution channels for a particular product? There's something called market. I think it's like there's product market fit, but then there's also like market message fit. There's a lot of like there's this Venn diagram of like different things that these folks over at Demand Curve created, and it's like you have to like pick the right appropriate channel for distribution depending on the kind of product. So like B2B products work a lot better through doing like cold calls, messaging. Like B2C products, you can typically get better distribution scale with like things like TikTok and influencer ads. But it is sort of dependent on like what you're trying to launch. I don't know if I could give a universal answer here.
What do you think about people listening trying to find their ICP, their ideal customer profile, right? You worked at Beast where your ideal customer profile wasn't something.
Everybody.
Yeah, it was everyone in the whole world, right? And then you were at acquisition.com. We're trying to find entrepreneurs to potentially get them interested in this book. Is there something that you've learned from these different companies and from your own agency when you think about getting in a room with your folks and you're like, let's think about who our ideal customer is? Is there an exercise at all or something that you've picked up?
I think one thing that I'd offer as a frame is that like it is not a one and done process. You don't just sit down in a room and be like, I figured out my ICP. And the same way that product market fit is a continually evolving sort of machine. So I think you have to commit to like a process of like throughout the life cycle of my entire business, I'm going to have to constantly be customer obsessed. That's like our number one value at owner.com is like customer obsession. So Adam, as a CEO of like a 400 person company, basically still has customers texting him every single day. Like, here's what I'm struggling with. And he always makes time to talk to them. You know, he's like in touch with the first batch of customers he ever sold like 6 years ago, right? Who were selling like Indian food in Philadelphia. And yeah, I mean, I think like the language piece, right? You have to understand how to talk like them. You have to understand like what their pain points are. I think it's like pretty generic. You know, what they aspire to have, you know, come out of their life and their interaction with your product. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have like a really great magic answer for this other than like, if you can commit to just like spending an hour a week, really one-to-one or face-to-face talking to your customers, it will do you a lot better than any fancy marketing framework. Cause like you just will consistently and continually improve your, you know, resolution with understanding your ICP.
So you've been able to work with MrBeast and Alex Hormozi. MrBeast is arguably the biggest YouTuber in the world. I think we could probably say that he probably is.
No, he is. Yeah, he is.
I think he's the most famous person in the world at this point, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting.
Yeah. He's not just a YouTuber anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like, he was like in 2021, he was like, I want to win TikTok. I remember him sending a screenshot to the team of Michael Lim, who had gotten like 30 million TikTok followers in 1 month, and he was like, we need to do better than this. I think it's a really cool, like one of the reasons I love people like Jimmy and Alex is like they just want to win. You know, there's this obsession. Like Kobe had it. You know, like LeBron has like all these like top artists and athletes. They just have this obsession with like winning, not because they want to beat everyone, but because they want to beat the vision they have of themselves. And so yeah, that was like the mandate that he gave the team in like 21 is like, we're gonna not just be the biggest YouTuber because we see the path to doing that. Like we have to be the biggest short form creator, you know, general celebrity that, and then now like traditional TV, right? He has like the Beast Games thing on Amazon. So
It's insane.
I saw that they're launching season 2.
Yeah.
My question though is, having been around an entrepreneur like Alex Hormozi, who's unbelievably successful, you have MrBeast, who's unbelievably successful at YouTube and all the stuff that he's doing. Alex preaches stretching out your time horizon. You brought it up already. He's like, I want to do this for a decade. I'm not looking at this for like the quick fix. Is there something like that you took away from MrBeast? And I'm curious to know about like the similarities in working for both those teams, and then maybe some differences as well.
I think this is where I was thinking about like how like the best content teams in the world are like elite NBA teams. So I think analogies are very powerful because they allow you to kind of like connect things you don't really understand yet to things that you do understand very well. And so you think about like a pro NBA team that I'm like not that good with sports and stuff, but I watch like basketball.
Okay.
A good NBA team, like Jimmy and Alex have just like they've nailed all these basics, right? So a good NBA team, or like most of them, have a really clear understanding of how to win, right? There's a season, there's playoffs, there's a record that you get, and then the winner has to go through these series of 7-game series games, right? And then you get the fucking big trophy at the end, right? So like, and a lot of content teams don't even really understand how to win, because it's like, are we trying to sell the product? Are we trying to build awareness? Are we trying to get big on TikTok? Are we trying to make our CEO famous? Like, there's a thought exercise that I think every team could do, just like clarify what does winning really mean for us and what metrics would indicate that we've actually done this. I think that's a helpful thing. Then there's a scoreboard, right? It's like every single minute of the game, you know, like which team is winning. It's like not ambiguous, right? But I think you have a lot of teams who are just bouncing between like viral hit to viral hit. And so it's like for 30 minutes after the upload, they have clarity, like, oh, like we're doing well because it's a 1 out of 10. And then they wait another like 2 weeks and it's like, oh shit, this video is not doing very well. But like imagine if you had a team just like in a basketball game that like every single minute of every single day, they know if they're on track. And you can do things just like by quantifying input goals, right? Like at Hormozi, we knew exactly how many pieces of content we wanted to hit every single week. And we knew what buckets those content pieces fell into. So like we had, let's just say like 21 slots for Instagram a week. 8 of them are carousels. 3 of those carousels are throwback carousels. 3 of them are collabs between Alex, Layla, Sharon. And then 5 of the reels are podcast reels. 3 of them are like taken from tweets directly. And then 2 of them are like, day in the life, like, Layla vlog stuff. So it's very clear to the team, like, this is the playbook, right? Then you have this general culture of like, players are obviously bummed when they get traded from like teams, but it's not this like moral thing. It's just like, yeah, like Luka got traded. It's like, it's a business, they're trying to win. And so I think when a team can have like little attachment to like, obviously like people matter. And like, I think loyalty is important and like taking care of your folks, but like letting go of performers that are not like doing super well, or like being really brutally honest about feedback in ways that people could be getting better. Like this is a really good like clip of, I think like Kobe in the Olympics, and his coach for the US like team was like, you're taking Lakers shots. You're not taking Olympics shots. Like you can't be showboating in the same way that you would, because the stakes are so much higher here. And I think for a founder to have that kind of clarity of like direct feedback to the team, like Layla and Alex, many times, Alex in particular, would sit me down and be like, this is what didn't go well about this shoot. How can we make this better? And it'd be like really, really helpful things that I knew I had skill deficits on. Like when I was working as his creative director, I, and continually still have to improve my ability to understand like aesthetics. Like I don't come from a design background. I don't have like a traditional sort of like Hollywood film, like cinematography thing. I made like, backyard dance videos with my friends when I was growing up. And like understanding short form content, because I've always grown up like just making like sort of longer like YouTube pieces. I ran a YouTube agency. And so that was like a big thing I had to work on. And so like similar to how like a coach is always giving the team like extremely tight feedback loops, like that's a really important thing for media teams to have. And Jimmy and Alex do that really well. Then you have like competition. You have like clear like rivals and like storylines and not necessarily like people you need to beat, but like narratives. So for us at owner.com, like we support independent restaurants, and we are trying to help arm them against like their Goliaths. That's like a narrative that galvanizes the entire team to know that they're working on something that matters more than our company's bottom line. Like we're working for like a real legacy and like life, for these people that we support. Then there's routines and structure. Like at Alex and Layla, like we had very, very defined meeting cadences, reporting cadences. Like Layla's really, really good at helping teams understand like what information is shared, how often, and what formats, who needs to be included on these reports, which of this needs to be synchronous versus asynchronous. And like, I'm sure NBA teams have the same thing. It's like practices are super dialed in. They know who's practicing what any given time. So yeah, I mean, I think like there are a lot of commonalities between elite teams across media, content, business, athletics. And I think it's like, you know, understanding goals, tight feedback loops, live scoreboards, routines, like a low attachment to like, you know, like training people and like giving honest feedback. And I feel like they've done that really, really well.
I really like this analogy. And I as you're talking through it, I'm like, okay, you know, let's say you bring in a young guy to your company. It's like this up and coming rookie, right? You're like, I'm gonna pay him like a rookie contract, but we're gonna develop his skills. We're gonna trust the process. But then you hear entrepreneurs being like, man, if you bring in an A player and you pay them high, like that takes your business to the next level. I'm like, man, yeah, if you can trade for a fucking Luka, you're going to the championship. Yeah. I like your NBA analogy. And then I was also thinking, I go, okay, is the founder the coach, or is it the star player, or is it the owner?
That's a good.
But I would probably say that the founder, like Alex, is either the coach or the owner.
Yeah.
And then all the like A players that are working for acquisition.com or for Alex is it's like the star player.
Yeah, I guess Alex is more like LeBron.
He's like
the GM, right? Like he's on the field. He's on the field.
Yeah.
You know, like Captain America. Right?
Dude, have you seen this? I could talk basketball all day. This is so funny. Have you seen the podcast clip where like everything is just about LeBron?
No.
It's so funny. There's these two guys and they're like pretending to be super serious. They go, okay, hypothetical. Your wife is giving birth and you're on the way. But you see that LeBron, as you're driving, is changing his tire. Do you keep going with your wife to go help her? Or do you delay it by 10 minutes because LeBron needs help changing his tire? And then the guy's like, well, I need to help the king. You know, I got to help. You know, my girl can wait.
That's so funny, dude. Is there something that you've taken from all of this years of experience with owner.com as you build out your new media team? I know you said you've hired a few people, but when you zoom out and you're like, I know I need a videographer that does this really well. And I need an editor that is specific to YouTube. I need a shorts editor.
Yeah.
What are those specific roles that you found that are non-negotiables that if someone is trying to build $1 billion media team, what do you think they need in their arsenal?
Before I get into tactics, I think like there's a really important frame that is kind of new to me. It's something that emerged probably in the last year of working with Alex and Layla, is that you need to find a way to build media infrastructure so that everybody is not miserable. Like you need to find a way to create systems where the founder or the person in front of the camera is happy. The team is happy. People feel rewarded, reinforced, motivated, they're learning quickly. And it's a really nuanced soft skill, and more so like infrastructure you have to develop, like discipline around, and it supersedes any specific tactic or platform strategy or camera gear or individual role you're hiring for.
So this is interesting because you said happiness is a skill.
Yeah.
And this is something that you kind of keep going back to. So in your experience, the happier the employees are, the better and more work gets done.
For sure. I mean, I think it's a much easier place to draw from inspiration and like aspiration and like if it's a good question to ask yourself. Does every single person on your team feel like the hero in the story of your company? And if you can't answer yes to that, you have a little more work to do on helping that person understand how important their role is for the team. And so like an exercise that I've done is like, how does every single person on this roster of creatives like really, really drive value for the team? The founder is super obvious. You're the face, like you say all the fun stuff, you come up with the frameworks, right? But like an underrated one is like videographers. Videographers, like a really good videographer is not just making sure that like the gear and the recording and the SD cards like are, everything's like, that's really important. But a videographer I think of as like the architect of the environment of the film space. They're making sure that like the right beverages are there. They're making sure that the temperature in the room is set. They're making sure that like they've sent a photo of the setup the day before to the director, so the director's not panicking thinking the lighting's gonna be fucked up like it was last time, right? In the same way, like your scriptwriter, the words are like the fundamental DNA of your entire video. If the words aren't right, it's gonna trip up the person speaking. it's not going to communicate ideas as clearly. It won't be as compelling or high converting to the audience. And so like every single person on the team understands that like how important and how like almost this entire operation rests on them. And it's something that I actually think like my new CEO, Adam, has done so well. Like he just makes every team at the company feel like the most important team. It's not like logically possible for it to be true, but like every team feels that way. Like sales feels like sales is holding up the company. The media team feels like the brand is the most important thing. The customer success team feels like our customers being happy and having a good experience is like super, super valuable. So yeah, I think like the ability for you to create infrastructure that enables teammates to feel really rewarded and reinforced for their work is way more effective than salary, way more effective than like free lunches or fun vacations or offsites. Like
pizza parties.
It's like yeah, right. I do think it starts with yourself. So like, I have spent, there's many people who have spent way more time on these kinds of things, but I've spent about a month and a half on silent retreat, like in total. So about 5 different instances where I've like gone and just like shut the fuck up for like 10 days. And
Is
just,
this by
like,
yourself or is this
no,
with the group?
they're in like these Buddhist
Okay.
like monasteries.
Okay.
And there's like a network of them in the US.
So you do have other folks that you're around. You're not
But
like,
you're not interacting. You're just like
You're not interacting.
No, you're just sitting together. I mean, like you're maybe interacting is subjective, but like you're like energetically inhabiting the same like
wow.
you know conscious space.
Uh-huh.
You know, but the reason why I bring this up is I think that like many creative people are kind of sad and depressed and lonely. I think there's actually like some research behind psychological profiles and certain archetypes for how people experience like positivity in their life. And creative people tend to be more like the depressed, like Hemingway poet like archetype. And so you really have to work on that. Like if you want this to be something that you do for a long time, that you don't like, you know, look back on your life and feel like super miserable. Like I think Robin Williams is like such a great example of someone who was so talented, but like couldn't figure out the skill of like feeling rewarded by all this stuff. And so I think a lot of that is like contemplation and like understanding consciousness. And the Buddhists talk about this concept of equanimity. So equanimity is like the detachment from the outcome and the understanding that like you neither need something good to happen or something bad not to happen. Like humans as primates and mammals, we're so wired to want comfort and to run away from aversive, you know, like experiences. So we want warmth and food and sex and recognition, and we want to avoid cold and pain and isolation. And like when you meditate, you just like certain kinds of meditation at least have you pay attention to like, oh, my back hurts. Well, that's just like an experience, like a sensation. Like, why do I need my back to stop hurting? Other than this like story that I'm telling myself, or like, ooh, like it's kind of cold in here. Well, I'm not dying. So like, do I really need it to be warmer? Or is it just like a personal preference that I'm having like as a small little emotional response at this moment? So by doing that on like a really micro scale, you can end up becoming the kind of person who can upload a video and then have it not go very well and not have it discourage you from continuing to do the work. Or you can have a filming experience with like a podcast guest, maybe like, you know, didn't have a bunch of great answers, or you could have done better research. And you're like, well, we're going to keep going. We're going to work on it in post. And I think it's like a really, really taxing mental like process working in media, because you're just subjected to so many variables outside of your control. People's opinions of you, trends, how the algorithm chooses to bless you or not on a given day, right? And so like the perfect creator, I think, is a sort of like a Buddha archetype that like is happy, positive, generous, warm, and like doesn't give a shit if things go well, because they're just going to keep existing and like living in this whatever, you know, elevated state of consciousness. So
sounds like we need to go to
we need to go on a
monastery.
we need to go on a silent retreat, I think. I was I recently went hunting. Like this was my dad's like 70th birthday thing like a month ago, and you just can't fucking talk. I didn't realize that.
Because like you'll scare the
animal. You'll scare the deer or
Yeah.
the elk away. So I was just sitting there. I was sitting in a hole for like 12 hours, no service, and I'm kind of felt like I was on a silent retreat. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I counted all the trees, dude. I can see 200 in my peripheral, and then I'm just like, I guess I'm just gonna meditate here with my thoughts. But it was so interesting because I feel like I have a very heavy phone addiction. Like in the morning, it's something I'm really trying to break. But not being
You've been saying that for a minute.
Yeah, well, I'm being honest with people, okay? Not being on your phone right in the morning and just being able to wake up is, God, it feels so much better when you're not just like, dude, let me see what this cheap dopamine hits, right?
Do you guys use Brick?
I don't, but I've heard of Brick. I've heard of a bunch of other apps. Yeah. I think I'm just gonna go phone in the kitchen and I'm just gonna get an old school one.
I've been doing a decent job of alarm goes off, I stop the alarm,
go back to sleep.
I'll check to see notifications if there's any fires. Typically there's not, but no pressing issues. Then I'm okay. I'm gonna go make my coffee, fucking journal. And I've been very consistent in, I'm not checking emails or really even more importantly, doing the social media thing for 30 minutes to 60 minutes.
What have been your biggest takeaways from the silent retreat, just for yourself personally? And what do you think you bring back into society when you rejoin?
So one of the biggest frame shifts that I think I went through and people go through is that we are not our thoughts. It's really easy to identify with your thoughts. We even have language in like I'll tell you I'm anxious right now, or I'm nervous.
Are
you feeling
a
little anxious?
No, as in like sorry. I mean like people say that, right?
Yes, okay.
It's really easy to say that. I mean, I'm a little nervous. It's a podcast. Actually, a better way to phrase it is like I feel nervousness, or I am aware of nervousness in my body. It's one step removed from like you being the emotion, because like you're not. Like emotions change all the time, and so there's like a identity shift away from identifying with the thoughts and feelings that arise that gives you a lot of permission not to act on them, because you can feel freaked out, or you can notice anger and then not flip off someone on the road when you're feeling like angry at them.
Needs that one.
Yeah.
You know how many times I've seen this dude flick somebody off driving?
3,
like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's
100, 2 or 300. Sometimes it's necessary.
Sometimes it is necessary. Let somebody know, dude. Let somebody know.
Yeah.
But I think that is, I need to practice that.
Yeah,
for sure.
The second one,
did you find that though in MrBeast or Alex? Alex seems like he could be.
He's pretty stoic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both of them are very self-reflective. They obviously spend a lot of time in like their thoughts, because it's a very creative like kind of world they live in. Alex, more so in the last like 7 or 8 months, I think has been on kind of his own spiritual path. There's like this one, like you can find it on the channel. I forget what the title is now, but if you just look for like a background that looks like he's like on his Zoom, he just one day sent me on like a Saturday morning a 20-minute Zoom video, like he's like, post this, and it was him talking about happiness, and this theme that he talks about is like, I am the problem. Like if you're unhappy or something's not going well in your life, like you can just realize that you are the source of unhappiness because you have a expectation that things should be different. And that will never change, even if you become richer and more famous and like whatever, right? And so that's, if frame number 1 is like, we are not our emotions, we are not our thoughts. Number 2 is human suffering will always be a constant so long as you desire stuff to be different. And that desire will never change no matter of the external circumstances in your life. So you have to make it an internal change. I have this quote I wrote down on my phone for like my 2026 sort of ideas. It's like, happiness is an inside job. It's like a heist that you have to like make happen, because like no amount of money or fame or respect or like attention from people is going to like make you feel like everything is right in the world. Because like just biologically, humans are just wired to want more, because we evolved in a very like resource scarce environment, and now we are resource abundant. And so you just have to like work on that.
Have there been moments throughout these super high highs that you maybe have reflected and been like, man, I'm not happy and I feel like I should be happy right now? And if so, what would your advice be to someone that's like going through something like that? Because I feel like with a lot of the elite performers that we talk to, they all, and I feel the exact same way. I'll set a monetary amount. I'll set, we need to hit this many subscribers, or we had like our first video get 150,000 views, and it's like, that's so cool. But then the next one could get 5,000 and then you want to jump off my balcony. And it's just like this weird thing of both of us have been trying to practice the art of detaching, because what we can control is the title and the thumbnail, and we can control doing a really good episode with our guest. But I can't control if one gets 100,000 views. I can have an inclination that I think it should, but I feel like I really resonate with what you just said, because it's our expectation when I get pissed off.
Yeah.
It's like no one told me that this last ep was supposed to get 10,000 views plus or whatever the heck this weird number is in my head. And then we're pissed and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why have we not done, why are we doing this? Like, why did this not do well? But at the end of the day, like we've talked about this 1,000 different times in 1,000 different ways. It's like I can't control who comments that day. I can't control who likes it that day. All we can do is find great people to sit in the chair across from us and put out what we think is a great piece of content, hope that other people will resonate with it.
The people that are telling us are me and you to each other.
Yeah, no, I know.
They know. Do you want your ticket now or later to the moon? Because this one's going viral. And then it doesn't. And then I get mad because I'm like, now. Braden said we were going to the moon. What the fuck?
Yeah.
We're still on Earth. I don't understand. What's going on? Our bet in 2026 is YouTube. And so because we have a limited amount of finances to be able to allocate towards content, we're saying, okay, let's go less heavy on short form and let's have Yuli film weekly YouTube videos of us, where if we can crack long form, I think it's going to deliver a higher ROI for us of what we're trying to achieve than going more consistently or leveling up the output on short form.
I think it's a really good bet. Like, I think YouTube is where the highest quality attention is. You also are able to explain topics with a lot more nuance that create really strong like brand affinity and credibility. The thing that I would caution you against, like, or encourage you to maybe figure out how to continue to figure out the short form game in like a way that's like scalable and financially feasible, is that like there's this concept of like variance in statistics, and like short form is just a higher variance platform, and it's actually a good thing. Like if you can post 100 times in a month, and it's hard to post 100 long form podcasts in a month, you're just more likely to have 1 or 2 of them hit. And then once that happens, you can double down on that, and then all of a sudden next month 4 hit, and then 8 hit, right? Whereas like if you're waiting for the 2 out of 100 outcome for a podcast, that might not happen, right?
Yeah.
Or like it's just a little more difficult to replicate, because with a podcast, it's like, was it the guest? Was it the packaging? Well, you can't get the guest on another time. But if it's a clip, there's so many things you can replicate. Maybe it was the way that you had a text hook. Maybe it was the really concise question you asked as a hook to the thing. Maybe it was like the B-roll you used, right? And so that's like always been our play with the Hormozi team.
The one other thing I guess I forgot to mention is that we're also going to be doing 2/3 minute all the way up to like
clips.
15 minute clips on YouTube on another technically a clips channel,
Clip
but
channel's great.
It's not going to be
it's not the
vertical short.
Clips channel is great. No, for sure. But you're still not benefiting from the variance of the actual short form algorithm itself, which is weighted towards treating every single short as its own standalone thing. Like I think YouTube channels long form, you're beholden a little bit more to like YouTube has some kind of audience profile. They understand the performance and the personalization metrics of the people who are watching your videos. And so you're unlikely to have a random hit of new audiences that watch your long form YouTube content if you don't already have a large base. Short form I think is totally different, because it's like it's almost like a dice roll every single time. And so I think you just like when you're trying to build something early stages, like just roll the dice more, I think. And even like you also can benefit from clipping old podcasts, right?
Yeah, totally. It's so interesting. And it's something that we've been battling with super hard, because it's you only have a finite level of slots that people can sponsor, and then you're also trying to you know what I mean? It's such an interesting monetization to like what a podcast brings to the table, and what your boundaries are for what you can monetize on. It's so interesting.
You
go. I was going to say,
I would say one thing you can do to solve for trying to get like cheaper editors to like do stuff if they're not like on set or like understand English as well, is like Stephen Bartlett has like have you heard like the AI button
No.
thing.
The button
Under
under
the
the
table.
table.
Oh,
Yeah. Do you know what it does though?
No.
It tells them that like this is a moment they should click.
Right, and I'm pretty sure it's set up with a live transcriber and a time code system. So so I was trying to build this with the Hormozi team. I was like,
wow.
Okay.
So mid pod, he's tapping.
I think so.
That's
I don't
amazing.
actually remember.
I've heard him talk about that.
Wow.
So wait, the ideal situation would be one of you has like a thing on one of these iPads. You hit a button, and there's a Claude or some kind of MCP related thing that has access to your transcript, and then it so level 1 is time code. It's like, okay, 1 minute and 27 seconds, good moment.
Be like Yuli writing this down.
But that's not that good. It still requires a lot of effort to make that right.
Yeah.
Step number 2 is it also gets the moment. So it's like when I was asking this question about the MBA thing, that's a moment.
That's a moment.
Step 3 is the bot has access to the transcription that's happening live, and it does a query that says at 90 minutes and 45 seconds, the podcast guest was talking about NBA teams, and Braden asked this question about what MrBeast was like, and that's a moment. And then it even has the transcript there, so it has everything that the clipper needs to be able to make it. And then step 4 would be at the very end of the podcast, you have an agent that then you just sit down as a team and you hit a button, and it lists you the 25 moments from the podcast, and you just go yes, yes, no, 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 yes, 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 yes. And then that's a brief that gets sent to your editing team that just probably cuts down on a lot of, because you guys have the most taste of your entire, you always have the most taste of your entire team. You can't outsource that.
Yeah.
It's like, even if you get a really dope, badass editor from LA who's been doing this for a while, they don't have the 200 episodes of knowledge that you guys have of what clips and what moments hit. So these kinds of infrastructure things are things that I'm trying to build with my team. To save time, because I have 3 media team members right now. I'm used to MrBeast had 25 when I joined, obviously now hundreds. Alex and Layla's media team was 18 by the time I left, So
what consists if we're trying to build the USA dream team of media teams,
so
what are
the US Olympic team.
The US Olympic media team, what does that consist of?
Right. Okay. So number 1, you need your LeBron to just be healthy, happy, focused.
Okay.
You gotta figure out ways to clean up their calendar, optimize for batched film sessions, get rid of bullshit that they ideally can get handled by an EA and stuff. Number 2, my opinion these days and the way that I'm building my team is core group of senior managers and then vendors. So I've hired a senior manager for operations who's going to be building infrastructure and a lot of these cadences for us. And then we have a director of content marketing who actually was at the company before I joined. He's a world-class storyteller, went to film school, knows our customers super well, amazing at creating storyboards and understanding how to interview people. And then I will hire 2 more leads this year. One is a short form, head of short form manager who understands hooks and visuals and how to pick up a camera and film UGC stuff. And then I will hire a YouTube manager who's obsessed with titles, thumbnails, ideas. And then that's it for a while. I'm going to wait to hire a editor or a junior strategist or a clipper, because I think that if I have enough centralized direction and strategy, we can get agencies to outsource a lot of the specific production inputs. And that even goes for all of my videography is right now happening with a local contractor. I would like to have an in-house videographer, but in a venture-backed startup, every bit of headcount is an opportunity cost to hire another engineer. So I'm we probably could make the product better. I will wait to hire my editor. So number 1, you need your founder to be just super dialed in and calendar is clear of commitment so they can film regularly. Number 2, you need a core group of senior leadership that ideally has been there, done that. Number 3, you need really, really clear, I call these foundational documents. What is the ethos of the brand we're trying to create? What are the associations we want? What kind of messaging do we want people to know or not to receive in our content? And then how will we know if we're winning? So every team in 26 needs this thing that I call a growth model. So in investment banking or management consulting, there's all these we're basically spreadsheet monkeys. So we make these spreadsheets that project out financial forecasts for companies. And I basically was what if we had this but for a media team? But instead of impressions, which is very volatile, it's just follower growth per platform. So, and I can send you guys a screenshot of this later, but basically it's I took the baseline percentages of every single platform in 25. So Facebook grew by 4% a month. Instagram grew by 7% a month by followers. YouTube grew by 12%. And then I created a base case of like, if I just multiplied that compounding every single month, where would we end up at the end of the year? And I think it was like, we would go from 100 something thousand followers to like 400. And then I was like, okay, I think if we increase our publication rate from 7 times a week, so 1 time a day on Instagram, to 14, I don't necessarily think that will double the rate of growth, but I think it could increase our rate of growth by 20%. So you basically can start to map out increases in inputs and then increases in growth rate. And like you can hire a spreadsheet monkey to like build these things.
I'm noticing how dialed you are on content strategy, and not even content strategy of how many times you should be posting every single day or every single week, but having those different buckets that you're filling.
Yeah.
How important is that when it comes to content strategy of being as strategic as you are?
Super. I forget which Hollywood director talked about like the power of constraints in creative. It's like, if I tell you to write a short story, kind of difficult. If I say, write a short story about a knight and a dragon, but they've got like some weird like sexual tension going on, you know, or I don't know, whatever like weird like constraints you can put, or like improv classes. They'll say you're doing improv, but one of you is a doctor and there's like a fire in the hospital and you're trying to like save your patients at the same time. So when you can create boundaries around things that are proven in the data, it makes your creative team's life so much easier. And you can actually get more junior creatives to like accomplish similar outcomes than someone who needs to do this from scratch every single time. So when I say like, Alex and I were paying attention to what Adam Mosseri was talking about with Instagram and carousels at the end of 24. He was saying like, this is the way that the platform is going. We're like, okay, make more carousels. Well, how many? Well, we know that we're approximately posting 3 times a day. So let's just make like half our post carousels. Within that, then we also noticed in the data that like Alex and Layla carousels did better than individual carousels because they have like obviously shared audiences. It tends to be more like wide-reaching relationship content people can relate to. That's beneficial for the brand. And so, we just made like a formula. It's like we're gonna have. It's like the same as like if you have a trainer who gives you a workout plan. Wednesday's leg day, Friday's upper body. Like it's way better than like.
No, I got it.
Just write that.
No,
down.
I got it.
Just write that down.
Yeah. So it's like way better than like I'm gonna go to the gym and like flop around and do pull-ups and pick up the dumbbells.
I see Braden doing that all the time. You know what's crazy? I've never seen Braden hit legs once.
Well, when they're huge, you don't have to. See, that's what I'm saying.
All upper body.
When you're massive, you don't really have to.
He's at diminishing returns on legs.
Exactly. It's like how much bigger they.
He might not fit in the chairs.
Exactly.
I did want to give you a compliment though, a rare compliment.
Really?
Is I was at the gym. So me and Braden go to the same gym, and there's personal trainers there, and one of them goes, he's like, dude, your boy is like, he's pretty flexible. He's like lifting heavy weights, but he's also pretty flexible. And Travis was like, came up to you and asked you, and you go, yeah, I used to wrestle. So, dude, you're strong,
but I'm a flexy guy.
But you're nimble.
I'm bendy,
dude.
You know what that's from though? It's from being twisted up like a knot. So having to
close to other dudes.
Yeah, good for longevity.
Yeah, no, it really is. And now there's this guy. I don't know why you both would get hit with this, but there's this dude that holds up a sign that's like, take me down in wrestling.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Get $1,000.
Yeah, George's or something?
Yeah, that motherfucker is so strong, bro. And I selfishly want to do it, but I know he'll dog walk me. And I know I think I'm tough, but I've watched him and I'm like.
Big hit to the ego.
I just don't know if I could. I just don't know if I could take the hit to the ego, man. I don't know if I just could
be good content.
You gotta like detach yourself from the outcome.
I gotta detach myself from the outcome. I gotta practice what we were doing here. Funny, on your way out, you wrote this ridiculously long document, 50-page document with Layla, right? Or was it just you that wrote it?
I think like I had told Layla, I told Alex and Layla, hey, it's been the most amazing experience of my entire career working with y'all. I've gotten this offer to go work for the software company and back in Silicon Valley. I'm from California. And I obviously want to make the team super set up for success. I wrote like a plan, like here's like a 2-month long, basically like structure set up. And as part of it, I was like, I'd love to just document everything, but not so much in these like little one-off like SOPs. I think like SOPs can get lost super easily. And like everyone's like, where's the fucking Google Doc with our filming thing? And so I was like, I want to make an artifact. Like Alex has done such a great job of writing these books. I kind of want to make like an internal book but it's going to be about how to succeed at this company. And we'd had a number of internal team like feedback discussions where some of our earlier employees, like a lot of them were like first job out of college, were like, I would love to know how to grow here, like how to be successful here. And like, it feels like we have very specific ways that we think about culture and growth. And so I was like, what a gift to first myself to like be able to take I have like just pages and pages of notes in my journal of like things I've learned from Alex and Layla over time, but they're like not structured. They're not sequenced well. And then a gift to the team to be like, hey guys, like I'm not here anymore to guide this team as the person leading the media team, but like I want you guys to succeed, whether it's here or even after acquisition. So here's just like some frameworks that I'd like you to think about. And then to Alex and Layla, just to know that like I left it all in the field. Like every single person that like is on this team understands what you guys have as a vision for this company that they've shared with me behind closed doors. And so I wrote it, I shared it on like my last day, and then Layla ended up sort of publicly releasing it as she launched her recent newsletter, which everyone should go subscribe for Layla's letters. And it's like embedded into one of these like internal memos that she released as a part of acquisitions like history. And so the way that I structured it was like, number one, what are cultural underpinnings that are important to Alex, Layla, and the team so that you can understand like the language with which we think about growth and business? Number two, what are like foundational frameworks that you need to understand for how media actually makes companies money? Because I don't think if you don't have that, you can't really build media for a business. You're just like making random clips and hoping that they hit. And then number three, with that framework, how do you actually grow and advance as an individual, like a creative professional? So I'll give like the TLDR, you can find it online or something. But like for number one, the acquisition logo is like supply and demand and leverage. So supply and demand, we've kind of talked about this already. Like you have to make stuff that is novel, unique. Your product has to be standalone and interesting above your competitors. Leverage means everything you do as a media team should ideally be a double, triple, quadruple dip. If you're making content, find a way to make it into an internal training and also a LinkedIn post and also a recruiting video and also a podcast that's going to be shared on YouTube. Same with like founder's time. Like if you're having a film session, try to fit the content review at the end of the film session or during the lunch break so that you don't have to schedule an entire extra content review meeting during the week. Then there's like volume negates luck. Like it's like one of Alex's mantras that if you just put in enough reps, you are able to get over the sort of natural variance of waiting for things to do well. And then some of like the fundamental frameworks around like how businesses make money through media is, the economic engine of every business is this equation called LTV to CAC. So it's like how much money do the customers you bring in make you versus how much did it cost to acquire them. And many people understand how that works on like paid advertising because you put in, $15, you pay Zuck $15, he gets you a customer that makes you 60. But media doesn't always directly create the customers because like it's a long time cycle. Someone might watch your podcast and not like immediately, go buy your sponsor's thing or your personal product. But media improves LTV because if people watch your content and understand you as people, they pay you more, they stay for longer, they refer other people. So they're a more valuable customer. The CAC side of the equation is like you want to be able to acquire as many customers as possible for as little money as possible. And so if you have a brand, it requires less advertising to convince them to hit the buy button because they've seen your free stuff online. They have more trust. It also gives you economies of scale of converting more people because if you can put the same piece of content out there and it gets 1 million views, you didn't pay more for those views, but you would have if it was a paid ad. So that's the advantage of organic content is you can get like unlimited efficiency with customer acquisition. And that's kind of how media influences stuff. So like if you have the perfect media engine would convince everybody in the world for free to buy your product and stay forever. That's like the extreme, thought exercise. And so within that framework, now you understand our content has to do that. Like our content can't just get views. It has to convince someone that like our product is good and better than the competitors. Our product has to convince people, or our content has to convince people that the people making this product are aligned with my values, that I aspire to be more like them. Our content has to make our advertising more efficient by pre-handling objections that they would need to believe to be able to buy our soda versus our competitor's soda. And so, at the final, like probably 20 pages of this guide, it was like, how do we do this? Well, one is understanding that Within content, you need rotations because it makes it easier to fill in the gaps than like making things up every single week. You also need some kind of like feedback loop. It could be like a weekly report that just shares the top performing posts of the week. Third, you probably should optimize for followers, not impressions. So we believe at acquisition, and I believe that now, like with my current company, that growth dashboard that I was saying, that spreadsheet is all follower counts. It's not impressions, because your follower conversion, I think, is the closest thing to someone raising their hand and saying, I'm willing to give you my money. Someone like watching your video and even like saving or sharing it is like, maybe they just thought it was like a funny meme they want to send to.
This is really interesting because you've heard that followers don't matter
No,
anymore.
it is. Yeah, it's not. This is like a number one, or like a really important belief that I have, is that followers is not a vanity metric. I think it's the most important metric you have in your entire media ecosystem. Because and it is actually because it matters so little for distribution. So right now, why do you choose to follow someone? I at least follow someone because I like their content so much. I don't want to risk not being able to find them again. So I hit the follow button.
You're right.
So that I can pull them up to my following list.
So true. Because you're so right. Like if I see someone, there's nothing that pisses me off more, and Instagram sucks at this. Instagram search is horrible. If I just I just search Michael, you're not popping up.
Because search is probably 10% of their traffic. So
I know, but it's so.
But you should be able to type in a fucking person's first name that you follow.
It's crazy because you will not pop over. If you just search Braden, doesn't pop. You have to search BFIGGY, and then it'll pop up, which bothers the shit out of me. And you're so right, because I go to my following and I'm like, I want to sort by latest, and that's how the only way I can find someone, because I won't remember their name until you've gotten hit with 20 fucking pieces of their shit. You're not going to remember their name.
You won't.
You're like, there's no shot unless it's like very short and catchy or something. Like,
so you think that views are a vanity metric, but followers aren't?
Views are, I mean, okay, like let's define vanity metric. Vanity metric is something that like you get just because you want to flex on other people. I actually think that like flexing is an important part of this economy. Like with a supply and demand equation, you know, someone is likely to go and engage with a creator or sponsor them because they have views and followers. Like, and so how do we know MrBeast is the most famous person in the world? Because he has the most followers. Like, so I think, and he gets the most views, right? So I think like just the basis of saying something is a vanity metric is maybe like a little oversimplistic, but what we want is a metric that is a leading indicator of your business becoming more valuable because they're becoming a customer. And so if I follow your podcast, it's because I don't want to like chance that I'll never see your stuff again. I want to be able to find it. And I'm also like, there's a low key like cost to adding someone to your followers, because like everyone cares about your followership. So if I'm gonna sacrifice my social street cred to like give you one of my follower spots, right? This is again then it means something. In the same way that me giving you money means something, but it's just an earlier stage in the life cycle, right? So by optimizing for followers, I think you get a couple things. You one, have like a bit more of like a universal, what's the word? Like currency, which with you can measure your audience growth. Like for us, you know, we went from like about, you know, 150,000 followers to like 220 just this past month. And it's like, that's amazing. If I had just said we got 15 million impressions during that time,
skewed data.
Yeah, it's like, well, what does that mean? Like, who are these people? So
which one went viral?
At least exactly. Is that all from like one random video? That, like, has
is it cheap? Is it cheap views? Is it not? So like they have no intent.
So followers are what we call like a proxy for like a much more engaged potential buyer. It's not perfect, right? So like one of the projects I'm working on, maybe like if we ever do a pod again, like one of the things I really want to understand better is how do you go from understanding followers to attributed leads and traffic, and understanding like what actual videos drove success for certain campaigns, or like, you know, we have like this like AI restaurant website grader that like you can kind of put in your restaurant website, kind of like Credit Karma, and it'll give you a score. And so ideally, I understand what YouTube videos are driving traffic to that thing, and we have some like UTM links and all that, but I think the world of marketing is going to a place where everything is infinitely personalized. So like, if you think about like advertising back in, you know, the 1900s, you get like a letter from Comcast or Geico. It'd be like, whatever, say 15% on the thing. Now you'll get like a letter because you just moved to a place, and the local barber's like, I saw you just moved here. Like you get a little more personalization. Instagram obviously is sending you personalized advertising all the time, right? It's like we talk about, I don't know, I'm going to get ad for this water.
Yeah,
probably,
yeah, we
right?
probably will, yeah.
Then the next level of this, I think, is where once I opt in, now when the person calls me from this company, they're like, I saw that you and your friends from this podcast drink this water. I saw that you liked this particular video about the benefits of having like water that's a pH level of 8.6. Tell me more about that. It's like this scary level of personalization all the way through the customer journey. So if we do this right, I think by the end of the year, our media team and our marketing team will understand a restaurant owner when they come into our pipeline. What YouTube videos do they watch? How does that connect to like what they're trying to do with their business and their cuisine type? And just be able to give them a much better service because we have that level of personalization.
It's so interesting when you think about a team and trying to make media a business. What does that look like for most companies in the world? Because I mean, you guys got great data when you were at acquisition.com. You had 100 folks coming every month to get personalized advice on their specific constraints in their business. And I'm assuming a lot of them probably were like their ads sucked or they needed help with, they wanted to be like, oh, we want to be a media empire. We see you doing it on YouTube. We see you guys getting leads from this. And it worked. Like you guys were getting consistent leads that were watching these videos and be like, I'd love to come to Vegas.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So when you think about building out the back end of a company using media, what do you think about? Is YouTube the place to start, or is it going with, okay, who's going to be on camera? What are your biggest strengths? Like, what does that look like to actually turn this attention into income? Because attention with nothing on the back end is just like empty,
it's a way big waste of time.
Yeah, empty views.
I'd first offer like a framework for understanding the stages that this goes through, because I think it can be very overwhelming for someone to feel like they have to be at Alex and Layla's stage of media. Mm-hmm. So like level 0 is you have nothing. Mm-hmm. You are only doing, like, let's say you're a plumber. Okay. You're a plumber, you drive around with your van, you hit houses, you unplug their toilets, whatever. Level 1 is you have enough stuff to let people know that you're not a scammer and that you exist and that there's like a little bit of like happy customers. You take your phone out after the toilet's been unplugged and you're like, look, there's no more shit, like whatever here, right? So that's level 1. Level 2 is you have content that is purely used for hand-to-hand combat, like sales enablement. So you're a plumber, you record a testimonial selfie with your happy client that just says like, hey, like our pipes were leaking, the sink was a mess, but Joe, the plumber, came and helped us out. Like, thank you, Joe. And you send it only during sales cycles. So these videos get like 12 views, but they're super hot leads that are on the fence. And the whole reason why I'm creating this framework is because at every point in the media cycle, you want to be able to pour time and attention into media where it's having the most leverage and effect in your business. So if you go straight to level 4, which is like, I'm going to make plumbing educational content, maybe it'll hit. Maybe you're just going to be making plumbing educational content for like 6 months. And then you're just like, you could have been focusing the entire time on your business, right? So yeah, you go through like website credibility, like having your story, having like a bio somewhere online. Then you go to enablement content. Then most people go to paid ads, especially with local businesses, geo-targeting ads, like where you can like talk about your offer and like your plumbing business. You know, it's just like a lot more likely you're going to put in some money and get some reasonable ROI. Obviously, there's a testing period. And then finally, you're able to work on stage 4, which is content that is for the purpose of creating like brand affinity and like a long-term sales cycle and like trust and all the impacts in LTV to CAC that we talked about. But you don't need to do that from the beginning. And so, not to your question, once you've committed to wanting to have that kind of content ecosystem, I think you need to focus on like what platforms are you prioritizing first. This day and age, I would probably pick between Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube.
LinkedIn is crushing.
Yeah, LinkedIn is crushing.
It's pretty sweet. It's nuts.
It's doing really, really well for a lot of people, especially B2B, right? And LinkedIn in 26 is going to figure out their video algorithm. It's a little bit fucked up right now, but like I'm starting to see people on my LinkedIn like video feed.
I noticed, man, I'll get the same fucking likes on Instagram they do on LinkedIn they do on Instagram right now. It's just crazy. Some of the stuff does like way better. It's wild. I
have half the followers on Twitter that I have on LinkedIn. I get literally 1 like on all my tweets or my X posts. Like it's like sad. But like on LinkedIn, it's like
it's your burner account.
Yeah, basically. Well, not intentionally. I just like I don't know. Maybe honestly, this is a good frame. Whenever Alex talks about platforms, he always encourages people to be like, "I'm the problem," right? This is the happiness thing, right? It's not that the Twitter algorithm sucks or the X algorithm sucks. I don't know how to do Twitter very well. I haven't been doing it for long enough. So like what I need to do is like find some smart. So this is probably to your point. Once you've established where your ICP is, go and meet people and talk to people who have done this before and just pay them money. Like go find ghostwriters on X and LinkedIn or people with agencies in this space and either pay them for the consulting or pay them to do the thing for you. Because that is going to ramp you up way faster than trying to like hire your own version of like the MrBeast or Hormozi team, because you don't even know what you're looking for in the beginning, right? You don't know how to reinforce, set, development plans, give priorities. But an agency at the very least has like a minimum viable structure for that. At some point, you will run into an issue of, in economics, they call these like principal agent problems where your incentives not aligned. So agencies, as the agent in this case, don't really care about your content doing better. They just care about your content doing well enough that you don't fire them. So you have to enforce. I just told my team this actually yesterday. It's like you have to apply that Elon Musk CEO laser beam to all your agencies. You can message them every single day. Like, where's the video edit? Hey, there were like 4 or 5 things I didn't love about this. And then more importantly, like give them way more positive praise and reinforcement than any of the other clients. Like write them a fucking Christmas card, like send them a personalized video when your first post goes up and be like, thank you guys for taking a bet on me. Like, I know you have a lot of potential clients you could be working with, but like, as a former agency owner, those are the clients that I will think about in my free time and like work to make them happier because I like them and I know them more as people, right? Like they've created like a branding exercise with me as a client of mine. And so with agencies, in order for you to really get the most amount of value out of them, if they're not like a full-time employee, you just have to be like super on top of giving them lots of direction and reinforcement. And then the last piece, I think the last piece to this would be like the NBA scoreboard and the game tape reviews they do in the locker room after is like every week, can you simply look at like what were the top 2 or 3 posts that converted the most followers, not got the most views, and every platform will give you this data, and then why? Look at the retention curves. Every short form platform now has retention curves, just like YouTube did like 5 years ago. And make some sort of hypothesis. Like we think that if we put up a text hook that has some numbers and dollar signs in the first like 2 seconds, people are more likely to stay and engage and follow. And then just write down your list of hypotheses on a given week and then just test them for a month. And then I have this document I call like the media change log. It's kind of like in software development. Every single time they release a new update, they just like write it down and like they release it in like a roadmap. I have this for media because it's very easy to just flounder and try random shit and have no way to look back on it and be like, oh, this actually worked. And so you should do that for content strategy, and you should also do that for internal processes. Like if you guys find a better way to set up the podcast mics or the lighting, put that in the change log so that a new team member being onboarded can like really just know like how has this process changed over time.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. What?
Braden's have you finished the book? He's reading Elon Musk's
I have one chapter left. It's so interesting. It's
that like, laser beam focus.
It's wicked interesting. And also just how I think he really sets like quite unreasonable expectations for folks and they hit them. He's like, he has some of the,
or they don't,
and they fires them. Yeah. It was interesting though, just hearing about him balancing these 3 companies at once and how like focusing on SpaceX almost caused Tesla to burn down. And it's just, it's a really good book. I'm listening to the Audible version of it. And I like that because now every month I just pay $10 and I get a new Audible. Although it's good. Yeah. You have the credits. Yes, dude. I love collecting the books. Like, but I need a little bit more books to fill up my bookshelf, but I like just being able to like, if I'm cleaning my house, I love listening to stuff like that. It's so fun.
Really good.
Yeah.
Okay. So question, I want to go back to even before working for Alex, the YouTube video that you put out talking about the next, your next venture. You brought up how for both the jobs working with MrBeast and Alex, you made a custom personalized piece of content. I'd love to hear the story of before working with Alex, working for MrBeast, and how did you actually get the job working for MrBeast?
Yeah. So I have a very like unconventional and like strange sort of pathway into the media world, as many people do for sure, because it's a very emerging sort of economy. I was a computational neuroscience and economics major in school. And my dream was to work at Khan Academy. I really wanted to like change the future of education by working in ed tech for these like distributed systems of helping personalized learning. And so I thought the two things I need to do are, one, get like a very like deep hands-on experience in the education world. And then everyone at Khan Academy, when I like LinkedIn stalked and did a bunch of info calls, had worked at like McKinsey or Bain or BCG, like one of these like top tier management consulting firms. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try to get my way into both these things. So I applied, I got into TFA and I got an internship at Bain. And so for the next like 4 years out of college, I basically spent 2 years teaching AP statistics to high school seniors, which was like the most fun and also like so hard because like kids hate math. And then I was in management consulting in San Francisco here. And so after leaving Bain, it was like the middle of COVID. So I was like, burnt out of consulting, and I had always done like our family's weddings. Like my dad is like our family videographer. And so I had enough editing skills to like be a mediocre, like just like Fiverr level like editor. And I just started like working with these different editors. A lot of them were like entrepreneurs. And I was like, I think I could do this like little agency thing. I had a friend who like took me under his wing and showed me how to price like agency models and stuff. MrBeast in December of 2020 tweeted like he's hiring for general creative talent. At the time, he had like 20 million subscribers or so, like pretty like big. But he obviously needed to like expand his team quite a bit. And so I was like, look, I have no experience running YouTube channels. I'm not that impressive of a candidate. I have to do something like kind of different and unique. And so I actually hired a coach that his name's Charlie Hohen. He's like this amazing entrepreneur who was like Tim Ferriss's and Seth Godin's like first employee. And so he has this like methodology for creating what he calls like gifts for people you want to work with. You like do extensive research, you like make something novel, you find a way to get them on the phone or like send it to them. And so I did this process. I like dove into everything MrBeast was trying to build and understand like his brand. And so I was a dancer in college, and I like called a bunch of my dance friends and I was like, let's make like a video, but I'm gonna rap, and I'm gonna rap to Drake's Pop Star thing, but I'm gonna change all the lyrics and like make it like all about MrBeast. I don't really know how to rap, so I had to hire a rap coach off Fiverr. And we did like sessions on enunciation and like the beats. I know like enough to like do a little beat making. Also hired like a beat mixer on Fiverr as well.
I didn't even know a rap coach was a thing.
Yeah,
on Fiverr in particular, yeah.
I've been looking for one. I haven't looked on Fiverr.
Maybe I'll send you my guy's contact. It was like $60 a session. It was super reasonable. Cool. So I yeah, exactly, right. I go to the LA. We make this music video. I send it to just like the ether on Twitter. I tag a bunch of people. His manager at the time, Reed, picks it up and sends it to Jimmy. Jimmy watches it and is like, "Oh, this is dope." And so he DMs me like, "Hey, like I saw your video. Like, what's your Discord?" And so I like call him on Discord. I never like really had used Discord much before this, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like, so yeah, I do like editing and like I kind of know YouTube strategy. You kind of have to like fluff up your resume a little bit. It was enough for him to know that I was smart enough to at least like hang out with him in person. So he flew me out to North Carolina, peak COVID, right? Had to quarantine in a Hilton for like 5 days, and then show up and all we do for a week is play Settlers of Catan and drive around in his Tesla.
Did you ever win?
Yeah, actually, I think that maybe I got the job because I won.
Dude,
because he's really good at board games.
I was gonna say, I feel like Jimmy would be insane at Catan.
Do you play Catan?
He's savage.
Yeah, I know how to play.
Yeah.
Dude, I love Catan.
Yeah, it's really good. We should play sometime.
For sure.
So yeah, so like I think it's a good way to like understand how people like think about economic trade-offs and like just like, and so I won a couple games. Maybe I won one game at a time. I can't remember, but he pitched me on like 3 ideas. One was like, you can lead a production team for the main channel. You can be like a head of ideas, or you can help me start this new like charity. I want to create this thing called BFIGGY Philanthropy, and we want to make doing good viral. And so, yeah, I was like, that sounds like aligned with my previous background and like working in social impact and education. I love this idea of like starting things from scratch. And so did that with him for about 1.5 years. And it was amazing just like being able to apply this like viral vector of like videos and fun like challenges to like feeding people and like building homes and like giving away clothes and laptops to students in need. Yeah, it was a really cool experience and definitely like taught me a lot about like getting your foot in the door with these people who are way more successful and accomplished than you. Just requires like going way above and beyond the norm. I think when I got the job, I realized I never even had actually applied. I never submitted my application form in the Google form. I just like tweeted the thing out there. And it's like, that's actually a really good maybe metaphor for like, you really cannot go the conventional pathway.
Yeah.
Because you just get buried.
Mm-hmm. When you think about the philanthropy channel, right? That channel is getting views and they're using that to fund like these amazing operations that you guys are doing. When you sit down with the group and you're like, how are we going to make this one video viral? Because I think a lot of philanthropic videos they're just really poorly done. They're not created in a way that elicits any sort of reaction as somebody. They're just like, oh, we thought there was a problem here. We gave them clothes.
Yeah.
There's no build up. There's no story. And you guys crushed that. And like every video is getting millions of views. When you think about making those videos, what was that process like to actually be like, we need this video to get millions of people to see it? How do you think about an audience that broad? Because it's so different from acquisition.com or even at owner.com.
Right.
There's a very specific group that you guys are targeting. It makes it so much easier to figure out messaging. Like you're talking to everybody with that video.
I mean, I think what you're speaking to is like the world, what's happening to the world right now is a lot of these industries that traditionally have not had the power of organic branding are trying to make it work. Like venture-backed B2B SaaS, vertical SaaS, right? Hard to, make like sexy content about that. Same with philanthropy. It's like, what are we going to show? Like just like food drives and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is like Jimmy's brilliance, I think, is like, everything is packaging and title first, right? Like if we can't come up with an interesting way to name this video, we should not invest the very constrained resources we have to like do good, because we have lots of trade-offs, right? Like we can only give away so much money. I think you have to like really dial in like what's the packaging, right? You have to find a way to create real stakes, which I think is challenging with philanthropy because like you don't want to like not help these people. So the stakes I think oftentimes became the stories. Like what would have happened if we didn't come through and help these people? Like we had this project where we went to New Orleans after Ida and like gave away a bunch of food. And like we showed this lady whose like rooftop had been ripped off by the storm. And she just like, she's crying. She's thanking, Jimmy and the team for all the help. And so I think like you can create stakes in any content format, right? Like you have to just like paint the picture of what happens if we do not succeed at this thing. Or if you're doing educational content, what happens if you don't take my advice? Or what would have happened if I didn't succeed at the story that I'm telling you now? So yeah, I think it's like packaging, stakes, volume, like doing more, and
did he set unrealistic expectations for you guys on how?
Yeah, all the time, right? That's like how he works. I think like it's just like we are going to do the impossible repeatedly, right? And we're going to do good for people in a way that hasn't been done before and make it cool in a way that hasn't been cool before, with very limited resources because it's a charity and you have to be really intentional about your fund, your funds. So yeah.
Let me ask you this. We've heard a lot of people talk about YouTube being a packaging platform, and you just brought it up. If you can't come up with a title and thumbnail, it's not even worth making the video about. Are there any other tips that you have for creating systems around creating YouTube videos, or something that like people don't really understand and maybe are still messing up when trying to see success on YouTube besides the packaging side of stuff?
So one more note on the packaging that I've been thinking about recently is that people can pay lip service to saying that packaging is important and not actually do it. So you have to put not just your money, but your time where your mouth is. So right now, I'm spending $13,000 a month on packaging consultants. Like we just like sit down, we go over titles and thumbnails and like AI mockups and I've never done this before. All my money has always gone towards like first like editing and making sure that the stuff is polished and the captions look good. It's like, I just realized I have to force my team and myself to like give this thing the time that it takes. And because I'm spending so much money, I'm not going to skip those meetings. We are absolutely going to sit down and just like beat this title to death. And so I would say like, I can't stress enough how important it is to really think about that as a process. And I'd say like, they're not just packaging, they're like ideation consultants. So like it's ideas and packaging together that are the tip of the spear for all the value for an entire media strategy. The question was like, what other things are important to think
Is there
through?
something that isn't, not that packaging has become common knowledge.
Okay.
But I think it's become a lot more known over the past year, 2 years, like actually how important packaging is. Is there something else that maybe isn't as well known right now about like what makes a YouTube channel successful or a video itself successful?
Visual congruence. So like I wrote about this on LinkedIn the other day. Meta had this Andromeda update, which changed the advertising algorithm to prioritize ads that look different more than like sound different or like talk different, right? And so the rule of thumb is 60% of the visual of your ad has to change from creative to creative in order for Meta to give it the opportunity to be auctioned against audiences and shown. And I'm like, look, if Meta has this whatever $1 trillion, advertising machine, and they're feeling like on Instagram that the most important thing for ads that are being swiped through is visuals, well, organic has to be the same way because it's all in the same feed. It's the same human scrolling the same thing. So
are you saying though, person to person, it has to look different? Or if you're creating ads for yourself, 60% of the way it looks needs to be different for like each one of the ads that you make?
Yeah, like, and I don't even mean ads. Like I basically am translating, like, if this is the mandate from ads, it should also be for your content.
I see.
Okay. So if you're making organic short form content pieces, you have to find a way to make the visuals different, which is actually quite hard to do with educational formats because you're at the end of the day, you're a talking head in a studio. So you have to find a way to like, this is where like, it just forces a creative exercise. How do I make the beginning of my content look different from my last video? Do I pick up my phone and I start this podcast with a fucking selfie? Do I don't know, change the chairs? Do I like do fun little challenges at the beginning of each of the episodes? And that's both a long form and a short form thing. It's more important on long form, and the reason why I say visual coherence or congruence is because the first couple, like, people don't realize that your thumbnail and your title are not just like the thing that people click on. It's the whole thing that happens when your video gets auto-played on the YouTube mobile thing. Yeah. So if you have your YouTube thing, when you hover over a video, it plays the first 10 seconds on mute. So you have to make sure that the first 10 seconds look like they're confirming the title or thumbnail without any audio. And that's why every single Beast video, you see a tank shooting in the video, then you see a tank like, in the actual thing itself. There's some ways you can get around it. Like, I think having like B-roll and credibility are a good way to like convince the viewer you're not going to like clickbait them, because what's happening is like the tank in the thumbnail and then the tank in the video is just to let the viewer know you haven't been scammed. Like, you're going to get what you clicked on. If I make a video titled How to Be an 8-Figure Entrepreneur in 2026, I could have like dollar bills in the video, but like what's more important is that pretty early on in the story you share, or in the video, you share some kind of like proof point to convince the viewer that like they're not going to be scammed by you.
And that's why Alex would be like, I've done, had these,
every single time.
This exit. Because
you have to assume the person who's new to your audience needs that. The person who's old to your audience doesn't mind hearing
there's
your
like whatever.
Yeah. And it makes it easier for people to evangelize you. If like they know what you've done, I can pretty easily articulate what Alex has finished accomplished because he's repeated it to the team in public so many times in a row.
Michael, this has been insane. This is episode 190 of the 505 podcast. If you're still here, please hit the subscribe button, drop us a comment, leave us a like, and we'll see you guys all next week. Peace. Gotta have a system.
You got to.
Dude, systems win baseball games. That's what they say.
Dude, you got to run your content team. You got to run your team like an NBA team.
You just got to trade them if they're not doing well.
You got to trade them.
Say you're going, dude. You ever been to a hotter, shitty place, cold place? Because you're going there.
Yeah.
You're not living in the Sunshine State.
Look, you got to run your team like the Lakers.
Yeah. Potentially sell
maybe
the team.
Boston.
Potentially sell the team. They're not doing well. You say.
Yeah. What you don't want to do is trade a 25-year-old Luka.
For
Anthony Davis.
That's probably not that's not the smartest thing to do.
You don't want to follow the Mavericks.
If there's one thing to take away from this episode, it's to hodl when you have a Luka.
It's to get in the gym. Like, fuck it, we ball.
This is such a fun episode. I think some of our biggest takeaways were how these elite media organizations run. It's not like they just show up and shoot really good content. Their pre-production process is elite. They're spending a lot of time ideating, scripting, and looking at what else is working on the internet. I think a lot of people, and we've talked about this with people that we've coached and people that we just speak to in the DMs, like a lot of people are trying to make up new shit, and that's just not what you have to do.
Yeah.
You guys, most of you have expertise that are listening to this, right? You have something that you're really good at. You can go look at other spaces, formats that are working, and steal those formats and put them into something that you can say and that you can share your beliefs around.
Something I thought Something he said that I thought was very interesting is that he doesn't actually think a lot of people should be making content. They're better off spending time putting in the reps, learning something, actually building something, learning skills or building a business of sorts, and then making content around it. Because if you've actually done it, it's so much easier to come off as the expert. And I think there's a lot of people pretending like they have authority in a space when they actually haven't built anything substantial.
I think that I agree and disagree, because I think that people, if they practice making content but didn't say, oh, I'm the expert at this thing, you would have, by the time you are really good at the thing, you would have a ton of reps of practicing making content. And I would argue that most people can't afford to pay someone to like have them make the stuff for them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I feel like personally you would be better off practicing it, not saying I'm the best at this, saying I'm on my way to trying to learn how to master X thing or whatever. And then by the time you do have a little bit of capital, you can pay someone or at least have a very good understanding as to how social and all this stuff works. Cause I feel like people that are just, let's say, really good at a thing and never understand content or have any idea how it works, I feel like they get taken advantage of.
Sure.
So it's a really interesting concept. Should you or should you not? And I feel like you almost build it as you're going across the ocean.
Yeah, you take the journey POV as opposed to the authoritarian POV. Because Caleb brought this up, which is interesting because both Caleb and Michael have both worked for Alex Hormozi. It's so easy to sniff bullshit, and you don't want to pose as an authority figure if you aren't one, because that's the quickest way to lose trust.
Followers,
because then you're going to be on Baller Busters.
You don't want to be on Baller Busters, man. You don't want to be
best account on the internet.
You don't want to be there. I really liked what he said about followers and how I think a lot of us.
This one also kind of blew my mind a little bit.
No, I know. And it was interesting to think, because when we were at the Lakers, I remember a lot of the different things that people would talk about in meetings were like, oh, we're doing this many impressions. But followers was always one of the metrics that was shared.
And when you were there, were you
I wasn't
in
so
the
much
mindset?
No.
Were you in the mindset of like, why do they care so much about followers?
Kind of.
Or were you not even really thinking about it?
I don't think I was really thinking about it, because my job wasn't to I wasn't on the side of the camp of, oh, this stuff needs to get us this many follows or something like that. I was more so thinking like
trying to make sick vids.
I was looking at my individual pieces, why they did or did not perform well.
Yeah.
Like what my thoughts were on why they didn't perform well. Like, did my hook suck? Did I not have good text? Like, I was more on that camp, not like, are these accounts growing? I feel like that was more like the social side of things, not the creator side of things. So it's interesting to think about as a creator now for our business. Yeah, if our pod was losing numbers, that would be a big deal for us. If our subscriber count was going down, I'd be like, what is going on and how can we reverse this as soon as possible?
What's also interesting is after the podcast, me and Braden both went through our analytics on Instagram, and you can see what posts had you gain followers, which ones gained you the most followers, which ones didn't gain you followers. And it's interesting because there's kind of a clear reason why someone would see a piece of content, at least when you're self-auditing, see a piece of content that you posted and decided to follow versus not follow. And I think a lot of people focus on views, likes, obviously followers, but views, likes, saves, and shares. And those are kind of like the big four. But thinking about if this piece of content is going to get me in front of somebody new that is my ideal customer, and do they enjoy this piece of content enough to where they can hit follow? And a lot of people are saying, well, followers don't matter because of the way the algorithm works. But I, after talking with Michael, disagree with that, because something you don't get if you're not following someone is stories. And you want to make sure that the way the algorithms are set up too, especially on like TikTok, I think followers matter maybe a little bit less on TikTok because there isn't like the DM feature, and well, there is, but it's just not as good as Instagram. And there aren't stories. Or actually there is.
There is, but it's
different.
No, yeah. I'd argue TikTok, you're optimizing just for you.
But
right?
Yes, but also the algorithm, it still feeds you sometimes people that you follow. But I love that what he said is you don't want to run the risk of never seeing this person again. And people are precious with their follows. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be just kind of doom scrolling and hit like or share and save all day long. But to actually be like, damn, I like this piece of content so much. I want to follow this person because I don't want to risk the chance of never seeing their content again. I think that means that followers still hold a lot of weight.
And the content that you guys all make is like investing in the S&P, man. It's all going to compound. At some point, like if you're really putting in reps and you're putting in, 25 plus pieces of content a month, one of these pieces, or you're absolutely awful at this, will go out to
hit a little bit.
A little bit.
At least a little bit.
No, yeah. I don't think that they're guaranteed to go in the hundreds of thousands, but I would argue that if you put in that many reps, something's either really wrong and you don't know who you're talking to, or something is wrong with the way that you're speaking or your communication skills. But you guys should see something break out a little bit. Be like a couple thousand more people or a couple hundred more people saw this than everything else. And why was it? And then analyze what that was and take it into everything else that you're doing.
Another thing that Michael brought up was how clear they are on their ICP. And
what's ICP?
The ideal customer persona.
Dang. Profile.
Or profile, whatever.
Tomato, potato.
The person you're going after. I think so often we think about, what do we want to make content about? What do we have expertise in? But if you can reverse engineer and really hone in the demographic that you're going after and paint the picture in your head, or even write it down of, this is specifically who I'm trying to attract. If you can think about your ICP, you'll have a lot more success because you're thinking about the audience first, or you're at least keeping them in mind when you're making a piece of content and thinking, is this content for my ideal customer profile?
Without a doubt. It was such a fun episode, and just how crazy that he got the opportunity to work around two of
Goats.
Some of the biggest and best creators on the internet. Like Alex owns the word business right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think Gary owned it for quite a bit of time. Gary had a crazy, ridiculous reign, and his content still does very well, Gary Vaynerchuk. But I think Alex came on and it was a different perspective on all of the business content that was already out there at the time.
Dude, I almost think Gary more so owns the word content more so than business.
I think you're right.
People don't even know.
You're right.
A lot of people don't even know that Gary has VaynerMedia. They're like, he's this motivational speaker.
Yeah, that's super fair.
Talks about making content all day long. And I think Alex is so much more about business. And Michael also talked about just helping Alex make content for people at different stages in their journey. And I think that's super important too.
And look at their model. Look at the model of what acquisition.com is, and you'll start to understand where all of the content comes into play, why all the YouTube videos are a specific way, what they drive to in the description, and how their advertising engine works. Because when you really zoom out and you look at, okay, well, there's a reason why all of this stuff exists. There's a reason why there's all these free playbooks and why they're for people at different stages. Like if you go to their site, they have 9 different steps for people to gift you something, but it's meant to keep you getting better.
The fact that he was a part of
crazy
the $100 million launch is insane. And getting to hear what it was like, I asked him on the podcast, everybody thinks it's day of, you hit this big milestone, but it's not even just days or weeks, it's the months leading up to it. They slowed down.
What did he say? It was 6 months or something?
I think it was 6 months that they slowed down on organic content.
To really just focus on this.
I might be butchering that, I think they started planning the launch 6 months ago. And then I also love the fact that Alex was just saying, all right, we're going to stay in this room for 72 hours. And we're just going to lock in and get deep work done. I think it's another big takeaway. I think just even from observing Alex's content and then also talking to Michael and talking to Caleb, they both say Alex walks the walk. Like, he talks about working hard and he's just actually working. And I think a lot of us, we say we're working hard, but there's times we're like, yeah, maybe you're bullshitting, you know? And sometimes like
maybe you're on reels,
dude,
man.
maybe we got to sit in this room for 72 hours straight and just order Uber Eats and lock the fuck in.
That's a great YouTube video.
Yeah.
We camp here. We make cots.
Yeah.
We tell our girl, we tell them, hey, we can't come home.
Yeah.
We're staying here
Sorry,
in the
babe.
room. We're staying in the room
Deep work.
for 72 hours. We're going to New York next week.
We sure are.
Just crazy. 5 days in New York City.
You know, it's funny, you guys. So this is our third time going to New York for the podcast.
Yeah.
First time in the middle of winter.
Tell them about the degrees that we're going into. What was the high?
The high, you
Dude.
guys, is 26 on the day that we land, and it's 14
So I'm looking out a
as the
window.
low.
I'm looking out a window right now. It's 72 degrees here in Southern California.
LA is kind of nice.
You can't beat this place.
You can't beat this place. And what was I going to say? Yeah, it's just going to be cold. Also, because it's middle of winter, a lot cheaper to book a hotel, and flights are a lot cheaper.
You guys know that I love to make that video about how much stuff cost us, and it's going to be a little cheaper this go around. Hopefully, we might be able to go out to an IHOP or something.
But we have some awesome guests. And
3
today we locked in.
Today we locked in. Let them
epic
know.
guest.
Let them know it's booked. I booked the studio.
Okay.
Tell them who our 3 guests are.
Listen, if you listen to this and the episode doesn't come out, something
Crazy happened. Yeah, because I bought the studio about an hour ago.
We got Marcus Milioni, minted New York. He's been a bucket list guest for us.
You guys have asked us for
Yeah.
Marcus for years.
I'm hyped to
years.
have him on.
Years.
We got Alex Costa,
Mm.
which will be epic, and Carl Crafts
It's going to be insane. And we got Carl Crafts at our studio.
at our studio.
I can't wait to see the studio.
We might pick up some art.
We might
over
buy
there.
some art for you guys. Maybe right there.
Dude, should we get a little?
Be so sick. She did a little
Little
custom
art?
505 art right there. Swap out the neon sign. 3 big ones. Let's go. Then we're going to Panama in a couple weeks.
Going to Panama,
So sick.
which would be, that's going to be super fun.
A little pissed that I got to cut it short, dude. It's all good.
I know, dude. You're working hard.
It's all good.
And then what else? Oh, pretty funny. So I went to an Adobe event last night. They had a few creators out to do some vision boarding.
Mm.
And we're vision boarding, having a good time. And then in walks Hayden Hillier-Smith. And so, fellow 505 podcast alum was just talking to him. And, I'll give you some game because he was giving me some game about this.
Oh, what's the game?
He was at this thing. What's it called?
Spotter.
No. What's it called when you bring
Summit?
Yeah, he was at a summit put on by Spotter. Hopefully we can go one day. And he was like, yo, YouTube's changing. I was like, what's going on? So apparently, you guys, I'm gonna give you guys the inside scoop.
Okay.
Apparently, Netflix is real nervous about YouTube TV. So I guess they're licensing creators' back catalogs and gonna maybe put them on Netflix. That was like something that might be coming in the future that he said. He also said that brands are trying to work with creators on much longer term partnerships.
Finally getting their heads out of their
I know.
ass.
And he brought up how, what was the other thing? How YouTube shows are just going to be like the next big thing. And so I think a lot of brands are wanting to work with creators to put on big shows or even streaming services. I think MrBeast really opened up a big door with Beast Games.
Shout out to MrBeast. Just
Yeah.
paving the way, putting the economy on his back. $10 million, dude. Ooh.
Is that season 2 what the giveaway is?
Well, it's like 5, and then
Yeah.
you flip a coin to see if you go. Would you flip a coin? I'd take the 5. I wouldn't risk it for the biscuit.
yeah, no, I would take the
Because
5.
you would feel like a moron, dude.
I know.
If you lost out on 5,
yeah.
I'd cut off my left toe on the show. Like I would not be able to come back from 5. Also, I got a question.
Mhm.
Okay. This is for the rocks too. If you go up there and they have that money tracker going to the moon,
Oh.
you eliminate your team for like what's your number to eliminate your team? I'd send my team home for $1 million. It's a game show, man. I saw people be
No,
like,
I know. I'm saying I don't even think I let it go to a milli. I think I'm pulling trigger.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Like, what's the minimum?
Okay, yeah. So let's say, because statistically the odds are there you're gonna get out from some bullshit, right? Like you're gonna get out because this one dude took money or something. Like, they line you up in a line and then one dude screws you over for like 25,000 or something, right? I think if you get the opportunity to get a 6-figure plus payout,
Sure,
I feel like you have to take it.
Yeah.
Am I wrong there? 6
No.
figures, like you're going in knowing, because dude, you'd feel terrible if you got I think $2,000 for being on the show. You'd feel crazy. You go all the way out to North Carolina and you're like, dude, I just got $2,000.
So this is I think my strategy,
Okay,
and I'm curious if you've gotten this far in the episode. Now we're just having a good time.
Okay.
I think you go in.
Okay.
And your strategy is to make as many friends as possible. And you become super likable. You're like, yo, we're in this together. Okay.
Dude.
You build up the trust and then you try to be like the leader that gets picked. You're like, I'm not fucking pulling that lever.
Dude.
And then that ticker goes up and you fucking and you're going home with 740.
Oh, you're awful.
Yeah.
You're
That's
awful.
how I think I would play the game.
You'd be a villain of TV.
Call me a shitty person.
The one guy is still in it.
Look, dude, I'm just trying to. Dude, all press is good press. I'm trying to blow up the 505 pod. I'm doing this for us. Okay? Anyways, that's how I would play the game.
There's one guy that's still in it from last season. Like they got him.
Okay, no, there's multiple people.
There's three, but I'm saying the one guy that's still in it, he took $650K and the other girl got like 10 grand or something.
Yes.
And he's like, I really need this for my family, or for like he was in debt or something. And it's interesting because he's still there, still getting to play. There's another chance to get it. And so is the champ, the old champ.
That's what I was wondering.
He's still there.
It's like, what, 10 mil wasn't enough?
Dude, Jeff, 10 mil was enough for Jeff. I like him though. He's a very
and he's doing it for a good.
Yeah, doing it for a great cause.
Yeah.
Help his son who has a really rare disease. I hope, dude, how crazy to be. People be like, it's rigged. Yeah. Jeff runs it back. Dude. $20 million.
Be crazy. What else?
Gosh.
What else? Oh, this is also fun. You brought up North Carolina. Me and Sarah Catherine, my fiance, we locked in our wedding venue, which is in North Carolina.
Sick.
So I'm really excited. That's super exciting. This place is beautiful. And wedding planning, I guess now it starts because we needed the venue first. Picking a venue, here's the thing, you guys. Picking a venue, really stressful. There's so many options. California, way too expensive because they throw in an automatic 20% gratuity and 10% tax. So any place in California that you go, at least from my experience of the ones that we talked to, it's going to be 30% more expensive. And they didn't have that in North Carolina.
That's not cool.
No.
That's
cool.
insane. Yeah. Maybe we'll get married in here. Here.
Yeah.
We see how many people we can sit chairs.
Dude, also.
Just call it a day.
How expensive do you think wedding dresses are? If you had to guess. Because she started looking and she's looking at different places.
I think on like the cheapest end, like the cheapest end, probably like $1,000, and they probably go all the way up to like 50,000. I bet these dresses are ridiculous. $30,000 dresses. I've seen some crazy clips about wedding dress. That's why I'm saying such a ridiculous number. I've seen these dresses get like, some of them go the crazy sequencing and stuff. So I know that they get just like crazy. But I would bet the average gal's wedding dress, I'd say between 1 and 10. Which is still like so ridiculous.
Dude, Sarah Catherine.
Am I right there?
You're in the pocket.
Right.
Sarah Catherine was asking a good friend of hers.
How much she paid for her dress?
How much like because a bunch of her friends had been getting married. Like Sarah Catherine's friend. And she's like, about like 15 grand each.
You're kidding.
And I go, what the?
No
And so she's looking and she goes, baby, you're really going to want me to have this dress? $8,000 though. And I go, oh my God, dude, this podcast needs to take off.
God.
Okay.
What?
So,
dude, we're renting our suits.
Operation Get Kostas rich enough.
Are you renting this? Like we rent suits, right?
No, here's the thing.
Oh no, we're not renting suits. I have to buy my suit. Is that the move?
Well, no, it's going to be black tie.
What's that mean?
Tuxedo.
Oh, so we rent them.
So
right?
you'll rent. Yeah, you can rent it.
Yeah. But you want to buy a custom suit for yourself.
So this is typically how it goes.
Okay.
I believe is you rent a tuxedo until it's your wedding day, and then you buy it, and now you own a tuxedo for the rest of your life that you can wear for any black tie event.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get like a nice custom suit.
That's what I'm planning. I want to go.
How much is a suit? $1,000? Maybe $2,500? I don't know. I have literally zero idea.
I think
like a nice custom tailored suit.
Yeah, it probably, if it's really nice, it could probably go upwards of like $3,000 to $5,000.
We should have gone. We're in Hong Kong. Why did we not do that?
Well, dude, no bullshit. I might try to take a trip to either like Thailand or Hong Kong or something and go get a sick custom suit for $1,000 and make a trip out of it.
That's what Dalen was telling us when we were there. Remember, he said, he's like, if you guys want a great suit, he said this is the best place in the world to get a suit made. He said it's like the best quality custom suits.
My cousin went to Thailand and I think he got like 5 custom suits, including the tuxedo for his wedding. And I think he spent like $1,000 or $1,500, and it was like very nice.
The 9s.
So we'll see.
Dude, maybe we go to 505 versus Thailand. That could be kind of sick. Dude, so we made our new channel name, BFIGGY and Kostas. We're really excited about it. You guys should go watch our second video ever that we made, because we're posting weekly videos over there. It's going to be a mixture of formats, but hopefully you guys like them, and they're not just us traveling around. There's going to be value. Dude, we're talking value.
You want to talk value?
Talk about practice?
You want to talk about practice?
Talk about value? We're giving value. Oh, we should do a vlog. We can do a cool vlog in New York. That'd be great.
It also made me think though, like next week, what is our video? I think we have some old footage. And I have the footage of you betting on the camera gear.
Oh,
like
that
the
was
auction.
Funny, dude.
We have some stuff that we can.
But we need to figure out what our story's gonna be, because it's a bunch of random shit. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
But now we're YouTubers. The second channel's sick. We hit 30,000 subs on this channel, which is
crazy.
Big.
That's insane. And the other channel hit over 100, which is really cool. So if you guys want to, go subscribe for us.
I think our goal with the other channel too, you guys, is me and Fig were saying if every video can get like 1,000, 2,000, couple thousand views,
I'll be ecstatic.
I'd be so stoked. Just people kicking it,
hanging out with the rocks,
and learning some game,
vibing. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, but we got some fun stuff planned. I'm excited to travel, and Panama should be fun, because Panama there's
blue water,
but Carnival.
Oh yeah,
I did not tell my fiance that Carnival is going on while we're in Panama, because she was already sad that we're gonna be gone for Valentine's Day. So it's the when the wife says just don't have too much fun or whatever, and then
I see
there's a trend where it's like you're with your boys, and it's like, yo guys, don't look like we're having any fun. And it's like serious face selfie.
That's
like, we're not having any fun.
So funny.
So we got to be like Chloe, Sarah, Catherine.
Not that fun.
Panama's just not that sick. Cut to a clip. Boys are raging. Carnival.
It's so funny. This is great, though. This has been such a fun pod. Michael Lim, if you're still here, please hit the subscribe button, drop us a comment, go to our other channel and sub for the boys, and we'll see you guys all next week. Peace.